Hello everyone, this is movie 1 of What If Naruto Becomes a God, and this story is made by Andre0715, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
It all begun in darkness. Cold, unfriendly darkness. From that dark void, a light appeared. That light brought forth life. All the gods were created from it, and from the gods, the world was born. They created 3 worlds, Bakai or heaven, Makai or hell, and Ninjankai or world of the living. After the worlds were created, unbreakable laws were created, laws of time, space, universe, life, death, and laws for the gods themselves. Finally, the created man and placed him in Ninjankai to live. Ninjankai was the world of the living. It was a world of many landscapes, from seas and deserts, to forests and mountains. They were inhabited by many different beings, but one was most prominent, the man. They had the greatest potential, along with greatest power. In the human world, some gods lived as well. They were named the elementals and took the form of elements, natural phenomenons, the weather, objects, and even living beings. Once the time for humans was over, their bodies would be destroyed with time and their souls would be trialed to see where they would go, depending on their way of life, heaven or hell. Heaven was the world souls went if they lived their life with good in their mind and actions. Heaven was a world sitting on top of the clouds, with buildings of marble and gold and an air of purity. It was guarded by a race superior to the humans, the angels, and ruled by the holy deities, gods of heaven. The angels were human-like beings, the only exception in appearance were the halos in their heads and bird wings on their back. They were also far stronger and smarter than humans. Their task was to follow the orders of the deities and protect heaven. Holy deities are the names of the gods living in heaven. They each rule over a small part, but only 5 got total power, one of which is absolute. The names are Kami, the goddess of light and creation, Yami, the goddess of darkness and destruction, Shinigami, the god of death and souls, Izanagi, god of men, and Izanami, goddess of women. Those 5, along with the rest of the holy deities, made the Celestial Council, its purpose the regulation of heaven. Hell was the opposite of heaven, a barren wasteland of fire and ashes, with buildings of iron and obsidian. It was the places condemned souls went. It was inhabited by demons, evil beings ranging from monsters to transformed souls, so demons didn't have a set appearance, besides the fact it was usually scary. Hell was split in 9 different sections called levels. From levels 1 to 8, a hierarchy system was created, depending on the demon's power. The absolute authorities were the demon titans and the demon kings. Demon titans were the 5 strongest gods of hell. They were Mephisto, Diablo, Lucifer, Samael, and Satan. The demon kings were the lower-level gods, or in some cases, demons strong enough to take on gods. Below them were the demon lords, each ruling a part of hell, the demon knights, commanders of hell's armies, and normal demons. But what of the 9th level? What was that place? To answer that, we need to find about another god, one whose very existence could alter every law built by the other gods. That god was the Shinju, otherwise known as the God Tree, god of time, space, and will. It was originally a god who took the appearance of a seed, but it managed to absorb the mystic light that gave birth to him and the other gods, and its power grew to unimaginable heights. The Shinju resided in Ninjankai, where it was worshipped. After a millennia, it created a fruit, which was forbidden to be touched. However, during that time, humans struggled at an endless war with each other. Then, a human princess, named Kaguya Utsuchuki, approached the Shinju and pleaded for its fruit. The Shinju, impressed by her courage, allowed her to grab a bite from the fruit. She gained incredible power and ended the worlds. However, she grew mad with power and considered herself above the Shinju. Enraged at this, the Shinju battled her, forced her to see her arrogance, which led to her downfall. However, before her death, she used all her power on one last curse: "I swear on my dying breath, you will walk this land, unable to control your full power and consumed by rage. Only one of my descendants will be able to control you. Until then, you will remain a shameless beast, a fallen god." Single quote. But before the curse could fully take place, he used his quickly declining power to alter the curse into a prophecy. He made sure that he wouldn't be controlled by her descendants. Instead, he made sure that all of his power would pass on to one of her descendants, the one to uphold his will. His legacy. With that last thought, the Shinju was at only 1/100th of his full power and became the Juubi no Okami, harbinger of death and destruction, king of hell and god of chaos. The rest of his power was sealed with his will, except one part, the strongest, was sealed in the 9th level, along with his spirit, waiting for his successor. The rest, as they say, is history. With time, the events prior to the seal of the Juubi changed, however everything after that was known. The Juubi was split in 9 beasts by the Sage of 6 Paths, each ruling a part of the world. Shinobis started rising, fighting bloody wars. The eras passed, Beu were getting sealed and war was a regular thing. Every Beu has been sealed, even Kyubi, the strongest of them. It seemed that the prophecy would never come. However, on the fateful night of October the 10th, events were put into motion. For the return of the king. Konoha. It was morning in the Hidden Leaf village, the sun yet to rise, the residents sleeping peacefully. Only few were up, the Anbu of the Hidden Leaf, the true shinobi, protecting their village from the shadows. On top of the Hokage monument, a lone figure sat on top of the head of the Shodaime. He stood at 5 feet, in a kneeling position, observing the village. He had spiky blonde hair, with a few black streaks in them. His facial characteristics were obscured by a wolf-shaped mask. He wore the standard Anbu outfit, black shinobi pants, Anbu sandals, sleeveless shirt, an Anbu vest and limb protective gear. A Nodaki was sheathed in his back. The figure exhaled slightly, as a few rays of light fell on his face. Sunrise, he thought. He stood up and jumped off the monument, soaring through the air, arms and legs open, his direction the Hokage Tower. Time to report, he thought. Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen was behind his deck inside the Hokage's office. The Hokage office stood on the top floor of the Hokage Tower. It was a circular room, red in color. On its right side it had a small leather couch, with pictures of the Hokages and some of the greatest ninja on the walls. On the left side was a large bookcase, holding different colored scrolls. There was also a small desk, for the mission assistant, whenever one was needed. Opposite of the oak door, stood the Hokage's desk, a large desk made of mahogany wood, with different files and writing instruments on it. There was also a large leather chair. The room had large windows illuminating it. It was certainly an office that made you look in wonder the first time you enter. Sarutobi was the Sandaime Hokage, known as Kami no Shinobi, for his amazing power, a high S-rank ninja. He was also known as the Professor, due to his large amount of wisdom and knowledge. He was trained by the 2 previous Hokage, survived all 3 great shinobi wars and led Konoha through 2 of them. Despite his old age, the only thing that he has lost is his endurance. His skill and strength were still there. In short, he was a powerful figure, respected across all the world. However, despite all his knowledge, power and experience, he could simply not solve the mystery that stood in front of him. His eyes were filled with sadness when gazing at the kneeling Anbu in front of him, yet pride was there as well. Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto was a prodigy not seen for 100 years. Despite being only 12 years old, he held the prestigious rank of Anbu Captain, the 4th highest military rank in the village, besides Chunan and Anbu Commander, and of course his own. A boy of such skill and expertise, he was known in the bingo book as the Okami no Shi, the Wolf of Death, for his killing abilities and his wolf mask, with a high A-rank status. The boy, no matter how much he wanted to deny it, was a weapon of death, a true assassin, a perfect shinobi. He excelled everywhere he tried, ninjutsu, taijutsu, genjutsu, you name it. He held the record of most S-rank missions done in a single year. He was considered by many even stronger than Itachi Uchiha, and if he wasn't in Anbu, a potential Hokage candidate. At ease, Wolf. Take off your mask, he said, with a commanding tone. The boy raised himself, taking off his mask and hanging it on his belt. Hiruzen's eyes were filled with sadness as he looked at the boy. He wore a face mask that hid most of his features except his eyes. Those crystal blue eyes, devoid of any emotion, though Hiruzen knew it was just a mask. He knew well enough, that if the boy released all of his contained emotions, Konoha would suffer so much damage, that it would take 5 generations to heal. He went from his eyes to his hair, a few bangs falling down, one with black tips. How are you, Naruto? He said in grandfatherly tone. I am well Hokage-sama, thank you for asking, he merely replied. Hiruzen frowned. I said at ease, Naruto. You don't have to be so formal, he said pleadingly. Naruto simply nodded and made his way to sit on a chair. I trust you didn't have any trouble in your latest mission, despite the report you gave. Naruto merely shook his head. No. It was a piece of cake. Hiruzen nodded, then placed his arms in front of the table, while crossing his fingers. I have a mission for you, but it is more like a favor. Naruto merely raised an eyebrow, grabbing an apple he unsealed from a scroll. As he was about to bite down on it, he heard the next words, I want you to enroll into a genin team. He stopped and tilted his head. Please tell me you're joking. The Hokage shook his head. No. Please hear me out. He merely took a few quick bites off the fruit and threw it at a trash can. I am listening, he plainly said, crossing his arms. Hiruzen nodded. I want you to become a member of Team 7 and monitor Uchiha Sasuke. As you know, he said while taking an envelope, Uchiha Itachi massacred the entire Uchiha clan. He got a nod in response. We fear he may suffer from psychological problems, thus we want you to monitor him, and if his behavior is deemed a threat for the village, you have clearance to arrest him. Naruto merely tilted his head. And why can't his sensei do it? Hiruzen sighed. Naruto, you are my best Anbu, but it is about time you became a normal ninja. I cannot add you to the CRA list without you being a normal genin. He merely looked at him, his eyes gaining a gold tint for a second, his pupils turning to slits. Tell me, Sarutobi, you really think I need you or anyone's help to restore, or better yet, create my clan? He replied. Hiruzen stuttered for a second. No, Juu. He went to apologize, but Naruto merely shook his head. Don't call me that, not here, not now. Hiruzen sighed. He knew about Naruto's fate, how couldn't it he? He was there, when it happened. Naruto sighed, gaining his attention. Fine, I will do it. I only have a few demands, he said, narrowing his eyes. First, do not instill any girl on me. You may set up marriage contracts and the sort, but I need to see them and approve them. Hiruzen nodded. Second, I want my inheritance, all of it, he said with a smirk. Hiruzen tried to talk, but he was cut off. My terms are non-negotiable. And I expect it to be heard in the entire village. Hiruzen merely sighed and nodded. Third, do not expect me to take orders blindly from either the team's sensei or the council. Fourth, once I am a Chunan, I want a seat in the council. He nodded. Anything else? Naruto thought for a moment. 10 favors from you. Hiruzen widened his eyes. Please reconsider, Naruto. I cannot do that. Naruto then smirked. 15, in exchange for the secret to beating paperwork, which made Hiruzen look like a ghost. Paperwork. The bane of all cages. A demon worse than the Kyuubi, more powerful than 100 Anbu and as unavoidable as death. Its mere existence sent shivers down his spine, as he watched horribly use his skill to multiply every moment. It was unavoidable, unstoppable, unbeatable, and yet this child said it had the secret. Instantly, he fell on his knees with tears in his eyes. Please, Naruto-sama, grant this slave's desire. I will give you 20, number 30 favors, with only limit my position. He cried. Naruto nodded. Done. Give me the details of how to start and I will give you the secret before I leave. He raised himself, coughing. Right. Go to the academy at 10 a.m. in 2 days. You will get instructions there. Naruto nodded and went to leave, but Hiruzen coughed. Naruto, the secret. He pleaded. Naruto turned with a smirk and asked, what am I? He said and exploded into smoke. Hiruzen tilted his head. Kage Bunshin. Then he widened his eyes. He went to a drawer and grabbed a piece of paper that said, bang here, in red. He placed it on the table and banged his head on it with force, while yelling, Barker. 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 Causing the hidden Anbu to sweet drop. Anbu headquarters. It was late at night in the Anbu headquarters. However, tonight was a special night. For one, it was one of their vacation nights. A night where they could eat, drink and enjoy life with their fellow Anbu, but without a mask. Also, it was the day where the legendary wolf would leave Anbu. Thus, a celebration for his retirement was in order. Everywhere, you could see Anbu spending their night with grins on their faces. Some challenged each other to drinking contests, some to arm wrestling, and even some trying to hit on girls, or boys. In a corner table, stood Naruto, drinking from a flask filled with sake, thinking about today's events. From Genin to Anbu, huh? That's quite a success story for the heir of a god if I do say so myself, He inwardly snorted, I wonder who the teacher will be. Probably Hatake to help the Uchiha with the Sharingan. I wonder if he knows who I am. Like I care about that dog's opinion, he said frowning. He wasn't quite fond of Hatake after he found out his relationship with his father. He shrugged off those thoughts as he saw Yamato approach him. He gave a nod to him, Commander Sama. Yamato shook his head with a smile, don't be so formal Naruto-kun. Tonight's a night to relax after all, he said and sat down, sipping sake from his own flask. He merely nodded and looked forward. Hokage-sama told me what you will do. How do you feel? Naruto shrugged, it doesn't matter. At best it will be amusing. At worst it will be a vacation. He replied, the CRA is all that interests me. I wanna see if Hokage-sama has learned anything from those books. Yamato turned to him, like you don't read them. He accused, earning a snort, that is irrelevant. Right, he then smiled and extended his arm, I will miss you Gaki. Know that if you need anything, the entire force will back you up. He turned to him and shaked his arm with a grin, thank you. If you need help straightening recruits, give me a call. Yamato nodded, then stood and went to join the rest of the Anbu. Naruto took one last gulp, then went and joined him as he thought, I will need a new wardrobe as well. Hokage Tower. Naruto walked inside the Hokage Tower early in the morning. He wore an attire similar to his Anbu uniform, without the protection gear. He also had a holster on his right thigh. Finally, he had a blue forehead protector around his neck. As he approached the office, he sensed 2 chakra signatures, so he stopped and waited. After a few minutes, an elderly man came out. He had black shaggy hair and one coal black eye, the other wrapped in bandages. He wore a white shirt, with a black robe. His right arm is concealed inside the cloak and he had an oak cane. He looked at Naruto with envy and slight anger, but also respect. Namikaze-san, he said, then walked away. Naruto ignored him as he entered. He bowed to the Hokage-sama. He said. Hiruzen looked at him with a smile, welcome Naruto-kun. I trust you are here for your inheritance. He got a nod in response. Very well, he said, rising and giving him a scroll. That scroll holds the location to the estate, along with your parents' joint bank account. I suggest moving the money to your private one, but it's your call, he replied with a smile. Naruto merely nodded and thanked him. He turned to leave but stopped. Does the team leader know my real identity? Hiruzen nodded, indeed, he knows. He is Kakashi, I assumed that already, he interrupted. Hiruzen nodded, by the way, the people will know about you at noon. He didn't say anything as he exited the building. What will I do with him, he muttered, then waited for his next appointment. We now find Naruto walking down to the shopping district, the streets almost empty. Let's see. I need to get some clothes and stock up on supplies, he thought. Who knows if my parents had a vault? It doesn't matter. I made the designs and plans for a new house last night. I need to give them to the building company, he thought, as he approached a shinobi store. Higurashi Weapons. I heard from some Anbu this is the best store in the village. Worth a shot. And with that he entered. He noticed a gruff man coming out of a door. He stood at 5'7" and possessed broad muscles. He had dark brown hair tied into a ponytail and brown eyes. He also had a goatee. He wore a white shirt, with a leather apron, black trousers and brown leather boots. Behind him came a girl around his age. She stood at 5'3", had hair the same shade as her father tied into 2 buns and light brown eyes. She wore a pink Chinese-style shirt, green hakama pants and blue shinobi sandals. The man approached him. Greetings. My name is Goro Higurashi. May I help you? Naruto nodded. Greetings. I would like these, he said and gave him a tiny scroll. Goro raised an eyebrow and as he read his eyes widened. 1000 kunai, 1000 shuriken, 200 fuma shuriken, 100 windmill shuriken, 500 needles, 200 meters of ninja wire, 300 sealing scrolls, 10 ninja pouches, 5 shinobi sets of equipment and 3000 explosive notes. You are going for war. Naruto tilted his head. I like to be prepared. Can you even afford these? He merely nodded. Both father and daughter were like a fish out of water, or anything else. Naruto looked around. I will buy some clothes. Goro nodded. I will go gather your things. Tenten help him with anything he needs, he said going downstairs. Tenten simply nodded while he searched through the stock. He eventually grabbed a few clothes and went to the dresser. As he came out, all Tenten could do was sport a major blush. He now wore a white muscle shirt with a red wolf in the back that hugged him tightly, defining his muscles. For trousers, he chose navy blue pants with red flames licking the bottom with pockets for scrolls. He also wore white shinobi sandals and a blue face mask. Is it good? He asked with an amusing smile once he saw her face. All she could do was nod. He bought 5 copies of the outfit, along with some casual clothes. As he came to the counter, he saw that below were some sets of trench knives made of chakra metal like the ones of Asuma Sarutobi. He bought 3 pairs as well. By then, Goro came back with a large scroll. All right, along with the clothes and those knives, it shall be around. 10. 575.000 Ryo, he said. Naruto nodded and took out a scroll. It was blank except a blank circle. He took out a brush and ink and wrote that number. Suddenly, a puff of smoke appeared and the exact amount of Ryo was set in a wooden plank. Both Goro and Tenten had their eyes widen, as he simply took the scroll and sealed it inside a smaller one and went to exit. However, she heard say, "Wait. What is your name?" He stopped for a moment. "Namikaze Naruto," he said and left. All right. This is the next stop, he thought as he entered a building. Inside, he found 5 people behind desks addressing both civilians and shinobi. He passed them and went up the circle floor. He passed a few doors and went inside an office. The person inside rose once he heard a cough only to see Naruto. With a smile he said, "Ah, Naruto-san, I was expecting you. You said you wanted a house to be built." He grinned, "Well, yes and no. A castle would be a better word. Do you got any area capable of such a building, Amon-san?" Amon was a man standing at 5 feet 5, with brown hair and blue eyes, with freckles on his nose. He wore a white shirt and brown pants, with blue glasses. He merely looked at him. "Do you even know how much a castle is worth?" He merely shrugged. "I got money." Amon sighed. "Yes, we actually do. Though just for you to buy the area would cost 100 million Ryo, I got the money. In fact, here," he said, writing a number, "I will give you the plans, you use this account to pay for all the things required." He looked at the number and sighed. "How do you want it?" he said. Naruto placed a scroll down and exited with a smirk. Amon shook his head, only to choke on air once he saw the details of the house plans. It was early in the morning. You could see Naruto in his usual outfit walking down the road. Only he now had 2 ninja pouches on his thighs, his trench knives in an X on the back of his belt and a chokuto tied behind his back. He came to a stop outside the ninja academy. With a shrug he entered. "Let's get this over with," he muttered, his blue eyes appearing icy blue. Konoha Academy. It was a great day for the newest generation of genins in Konoha. Today marked the start of their epic journey in the world of shinobi. However, only one thing was discussed: last day's events. The Sandaime Hokage made a statement that shocked everyone in the village yesterday noon. He proclaimed that the Yondaime Hokage, the hero of the village who stopped the rampage of the Kyuubi, had a son, named Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto. While the younger generation were curious, the older simply widened their eyes in realization. He said he was training in secret and now is the time for him to become a genin. The new generation were very curious to the identity of this boy. Gossip was flying everywhere. Suddenly, the door opened and silence fell in the class. Naruto looked at the genin and tilted his head to the side. Then, dozens of screams were heard and a wave of fangirls surrounded him. "You're so cute. You look so smart. Marry me please. Give me babies." At the last one he simply sweet dropped. Then, a Chunan came inside. He stood at 5 feet 6, with brown hair tied in a ponytail and dark brown eyes. He also had a scar running across the bridge of his nose. He wore the traditional Konoha Chunan uniform. He looked at the commotion and used his big head jutsu. "Silence. Go to your seats," he yelled, making every Konoiki return to their seats, freeing Naruto. He then smiled. "Ah, Namikaze-sama, please take a seat," he said. Naruto looked at him for a moment, then disappeared and reappeared on a seat next to the window, making every fangirl sigh from adoration, while getting looks of hate and envy from the boys. He paid them no mind though. Instead, the moment Iruka started his speech, he simply turned to look at a girl beside him. She had long brown hair and light brown eyes. She wore a yellow clip in the shape of 2 circles on her hair. For her outfit, she wore a pink kimono held by a pink sash and violet baggy pants. Beneath the kimono, she wore red mesh armor. She also sported orange ninja sandals for footwear. She is cute, he thought. She noticed him staring and blushed. He merely grinned, causing her to blush more. However, he stopped and raised his arm to stop an eraser. Namikaze-sama, please pay attention. He turned to him, narrowing his eyes, causing Iruka to gulp and continue. Naruto then examined each clan heir. We got a Nara, an Akamaiki, a Yamanaka, a Hyuga, an Inuzuka, an Aburame, a member of the Haruno civilian clan Ug, and of course the Uchiha. God, does he look like an emo. He stopped his inside ranting when he heard Iruka announce the team, Team 7 Sasuke Uchiha, Haruno Sakura. A scream of happiness was heard. And Namikaze Naruto. Then a crash was heard. All class turned to look at Naruto, who had punched the wall, making spider cracks, his eyebrow twitching. Oh Hiruzen, you will pay for this. Iruka sweet dropped and continued, Team 8 Hinata Hyuga, Aburame Shino and Inuzuka Kiba. Team 9 is still in circulation. Team 10 Akamaiki Choji, Nara Shikamaru and Yamanaka Ino. Causing a whine to be heard, why those two? From Ino. Team 11 will be composed of Yakumo Kurama and Sai, and they will be a support team. Wait for your teachers to pick you up. I wish you all good luck, he said proudly. Then, 3 people shunshined. One was a beautiful woman with black hair and red eyes. Team 8. With me, she said. The second was another woman with short purple hair and light brown eyes. Team 11 with me. Move it, maggots, she said with a grin that sent shivers down the Gennin's back. The last was a man smoking. Team 10 with me, he said beredly. Eventually all the students except Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura. Naruto turned to look at his team. Sasuke had black hair resembling a duck's rear and coal black eyes, like most Uchiha. He wore a high-collar blue shirt, white shorts and blue ninja sandals. Sakura had long pink hair and emerald green eyes. She wore a pink cheapao dress, dark green biker shorts and blue ninja sandals. She was currently trying to convince Sasuke to go on a date, causing him to ignore her. 2 hours passed, causing his eyes to twitch while the others were also pissed. Suddenly, he stood up and went in front of the door and fell into a stance ready to kick. Then, the door opened and he sent his leg forward, causing a scream of pain to be heard. Naruto shunshined while a white-haired man, with one obscured by his forehead protector, wearing a Chunan uniform, fell on the ground, holding his jewels. Ow, meet me on the roof. Ow, he said painfully while also shunshined, causing the other 2 to run towards the stairs. Once the 2 reached the roof, they saw Naruto leaning on the wall, his arms crossed, while Kakashi had an eye smile while scratching his head. All right, let's introduce ourselves. Tell me your name, likes, dislikes, hobbies and dreams. Sakura looked at him. Sensei, why don't you start so we know how to? Kakashi looked at her, thinking along with the other 2 how is she the top Kunoichi, but started nonetheless. All right, I am Hitaki Kakashi. I have many likes and dislikes. My hobbies, you don't need to know. My dream, you will find out one day, he said with an eye smile. All he told us is his name, thought Sakura and Sasuke until they heard Naruto speak. You are Hitaki Kakashi. You like porn and dislike people who don't like porn. Your hobbies are reading Ika Ika and your dream is to star in an Ika Ika movie, smirked Naruto, causing Kakashi and the rest to widen his eyes. He then sighed, since I started, I might finish. My name is Namikaze Uzumaki Naruto. I like training, combat, strong women, cigars, porn and Korra. I dislike weak women, fangirls, annoying people and arrogant shits. My dream is my own, he said. Sakura glared at him when he said porn while Kakashi smiled, but raised an eyebrow. What is Korra? All he got in response was Naruto raising his arm, revealing a red tin can with the name Korra in white carbonated soft drink. Buy it some time, he replied, taking a sip. Kakashi turned to Sakura. My name is Haruno Sakura. I like looks at Sasuke. My hobbies are stares at Sasuke blushing asterisk. My dream is squeals while looking at Sasuke. I hate Ino pig. She finished with a scowl. You like Sasuke, your hobbies are stalking Sasuke, your dreams are to marry Sasuke and have his children. Naruto said, causing her to glare at him. He earned a laugh from Kakashi, who turned to the last member. I am Sasuke Uchiha. My likes and dislikes are none of your business. I have no hobbies and my dream, no my ambition, is to kill a certain man and revive my clan. Naruto interfered once again, you like tomatoes, training and bragging about Uchiha. You dislike everything happy and non-Uchiha. Your ambition is to kill your brother and make more Uchihas to annoy the world. He grinned, causing Sasuke to glare at him while Kakashi laughed harder. All right. Now that this is over, meet me tomorrow at 9 outside of Training Field 7 to get the Genin test. But Kakashi-sensei, we are already Genin. Sakura questioned. That was just a test to weed out the people unworthy of being Genin. Tomorrow will be the actual test. I suggest not to eat or you will puke. Yarne, he said and disappeared, Naruto mimicking him. Sakura turned to Sasuke and said, Sasuke-kun, do you wa? Only to see him leave, causing her to sigh. Training Ground 7. You could see Sasuke and Sakura scowling. They came at 9 a.m. and have been waiting for 3 hours. Suddenly, Kakashi showed up, causing her to yell, "You're late," only to get hit by a tin can of cola in response. They looked up to see Naruto on a tree branch drinking yet another can of Coke. He got down, let's get this over with, he muttered. Kakashi took out 2 bells, the goal is simple. You must each grab a bell or you will go back to the academy. Take it from me with the intent to kill, he said, tying them to his waist. But sensei, there are only 2 bells, she asked, causing him to nod, yes. One of you will go back. Now you got 1 hour. Begin, he yelled, causing Sasuke and Sakura to hide. Only Naruto stood there, crashing the tin can and putting it down on the ground. Naruto, we begun. Naruto simply cracked his arms and neck, then fell into a stance. Don't die, he said and kicked the tin can, which flew with terrifying force towards Kakashi, causing him to duck. The tin can buried itself inside a tree. Are you trying to? He asked, but stopped to duck under a dozen shuriken from Naruto. Yes. He yelled and jumped towards him, sending an axe kick to his face. Kakashi brought his arms up, stopping it. A shock wave was released as the ground cracked. Kakashi pushed him and jumped back, only to have to dodge Naruto, who rushed towards him, attempting to hit him with his shoulder. Instead, he hit a tree, causing it to fall. Kakashi widened his eyes and shunshined 100 meters back. Looks like I need to get serious, he said, uncovering his Sharingan eye. How does he have my clan's bloodline? Sasuke glared from his hidden spot. Wow, Sakura thought from hers. Naruto merely grinned, releasing chakra. I believe I scored taijutsu, so let me try ninjutsu. He said, quickly forming hand seals. Wind release, vacuum sphere. He exhaled blasts of wind, causing Kakashi to dodge most except a few who sliced his legs, blood gushing out. He growled and formed hand seals himself, fire release, phoenix sage flower. He spat out small fireballs and fused them with shuriken. Once the shuriken were a few meters, Naruto did a simple hand seal, wind release, great breakthrough. He released a gust of wind so strong that it extinguished the fire and threw back the shuriken. However, Kakashi wasn't done, fire release, grand fireball. He threw a giant fireball at Naruto, causing him to counter with a water release, water shark bullet. A giant shark made of water rushed and extinguished the fire. Suddenly, Naruto appeared in front of Kakashi, lightning release, false darkness. He spat a spear of lightning which pierced Kakashi, but he turned into a log. How about genjutsu? Demonic illusion, tree binding death. A tree walked around Naruto, from which Kakashi appeared and put a kunai in his neck. Give up, he said, which caused Naruto to smirk. Suddenly, a wave of chakra flooded the area, which broke the genjutsu and caused Kakashi to stumble back. Naruto rushed at him and muttered, lightning release, flash pillar. A bright light appeared around him, which blinded Kakashi. He felt several punches to his ribs along with a cry of mega kick. And got hit in the stomach so hard that he fell to the ground. Once he rose and could finally see, Naruto was nowhere to be found. Sasuke scowled, I won't lose to him, he whispered. Kakashi looked up to see kunai coming his way. He used Kawarimi only to see Sasuke rushing at him. They engaged in taijutsu, as Naruto appeared behind Sakura. PS's. Sakura. She attempted to scream but he placed his hand over her mouth. Be silent. She nodded and looked at him. We should team up. That is the point of this test. She shook her head scoffing, as if. Just watch as Sasuke-kun beats him up. Naruto sighed and simply disappeared. He reappeared on a tree to see Sasuke panting while Kakashi read his book. I won't lose, he yelled, going through hand signs. Fire release. Grand fireball, causing him to spit out a small fireball in a continuous stream. When he stopped, he heard Kakashi, I didn't think a genin could do such a jutsu, but it doesn't matter. Konoha's secret technique, he said, putting his hands on the tiger symbol and plunging them in Sasuke's rear, 1,000 years of death. Causing a cry of pain to be heard as Sasuke was launched to the air, causing Naruto to sweet drop, he actually did it. Sakura simply gawked. She went to her Sasuke-kun only to see him full of kunai. Sakura, help, he said, and passed out, causing her to faint and Kakashi to sweet drop. That was an E-rank genjutsu, and she failed to see it. He muttered and heard the timer go off. Sasuke and Sakura were on a post, glaring at their sensei as Naruto twirled a kunai around. I must say I am disappointed at you too. Sakura, Kakashi said seriously, you fell for an E-rank genjutsu and showed absolutely zero skill. He lectured her, causing her to look down sadly. And you, Sasuke, he turned to him, you showed skill. But skill is nothing without a plan. You rushed headfirst when you saw Naruto's skill. Your pride threw strategy off the window. Sasuke merely huffed. And you, Naruto? His serious look turned into a hurtful, why did you try to kill me? Naruto merely lit up a cigar, don't be a baby. You said to come with the intent to kill. Besides, you didn't fight seriously, since we only stuck to B-rank jutsu. Kakashi sighed, anyways, even with your skill you didn't manage to take the bells. A ching sound was heard. They turned to look at Naruto, who held the bells in his hands, then at Kakashi's bells, which soon vanished. How? When I used the lightning genjutsu, I snatched the bells and set up a genjutsu that made them look like they were there. You didn't notice cause the flash blinded for a few seconds more than just your eyesight. Sasuke then widened his eyes, how do you have the Sharingan? He yelled at him. Kakashi turned to him, it was a gift from a friend. He muttered and turned to the memorial stone, that stone has the name of every ninja who gave up their lives to protect their village. He is there, he said sadly. Sasuke kept quiet. Anyway, what will you do with the bells, Naruto? He simply crushed them under his palm, causing the other to gasp. He turned to them, the point of this test was teamwork. You, Sakura, refused my help. You, Sasuke, I didn't bother since I knew the answer. But with me breaking the bells, I just worked with you. So do we pass? Kakashi looked at him, then nodded with an eye smile, yes. Thanks to Naruto you pass. From now on we're Team 7. He said with a thumbs up, causing Sasuke to smirk and Sakura to smile. Now, then, said Naruto, taking out his chakra blades and coating them with lightning chakra, I need to teach you a lesson. He grinned to Kakashi, causing him to stumble back, wait Naru. A roar of thunder was heard, along with that's for being late. Sarutobi sat in his office, looking at the Chunans. Give your reports. Team 1. Failed. Team 2 failed. Team 3 passed. Team 4 passed, barely. Team 5 failed. Team 6 passed but they will need work. Team 8 passed but they will need work. Team 10 passed. The door opened as a fried Kakashi walked in. Kakashi. What happened? Naruto pissed, bad thing, he said, causing the room to sweet drop, then widened their eyes at his next words. Team 7 passed. You passed a team. Yes, they need a lot of work but they pass. Sarutobi sighed. All right. Dismissed everyone. As soon as they left, he looked outside this window. I wonder what surprises you have stored for me, Naruto, he said with a smile. Konoha. It was a beautiful day in Konoha, 1 month after the Genin test. But was it a normal day? Copycat in position. Team, acknowledge. Kakashi said. Bubblegum in position. Said Sakura, sighing at her codename. Avenger in position. Sasuke said seriously. Fang, you hear? Fang, copy. Suddenly, a cat shriek was heard along with an explosion and a DIUHELLSPAWN. Shit. Fang will kill the target. Code red. I repeat, code red. Kakashi yelled. The team rushed to the clearing, to find Naruto holding by the neck a black cat with a ribbon on her ear, with a chakra blade pointing at her neck, coated with chakra. The cat was scared out of its mind. Now Naruto, we need the cat alive. Quote. Kakashi rubbed his head with an eye smile while his teammate sweet dropped. He turned to them, his blue eyes glowing, it will be fine. No one will notice. Please. he pleaded in a sick way, scaring the life out of them. Note to self, don't piss him off, his teammates thought. Kakashi sighed and holded Naruto's shoulder. Come on, we must report to the Hokage, he said, only for Naruto to grumble and throw the cat in Sakura's arms, only for it to claw her, causing her to scream. Yep, it was a normal day in Konoha. Hokage Tower. Congratulations on capturing Tora the cat, the Hokage said with a sweet drop. Then, a fat lady came in and hugged the cat, causing it to scream in pain. Oh my Tora-chan, how I missed you, she said, causing Naruto's eyebrow to twitch. As she left, the Hokage continued, we have more missions for you. You can paint a village's fence, clean the academy, Naruto's eyebrow kept twitching, help with the construction of a house, a yell of Tora-chan was heard, or catch Tor, a wave of chakra surrounded Naruto, causing his team to take a few steps back. No. No more. Pathetic D ranks, he cried. I wondered when he would blow, the Sandaime thought humorously. Iruka went to scold him, Namikaze-san, you must understand that. But he had to duck from 2 chakra blades, one breaking his desk, one embedding itself on the wall, inches above his head, causing him to sweat. Shut it, or you're next. He turned to the Hokage, give us a higher mission, old man. Sandaime simply took out a C rank, causing Naruto to calm down and take back his blades. Team 7, this will be your first C rank mission, he said, causing Sasuke to smirk and Sakura to have a slight look of worry. You are to escort a builder to Wave Country. Bring in the client, he said. Then, a gray-haired man with a beard and a straw hat came in, holding a bottle. He reeked of alcohol. These are the brats supposed to protect me. They look pathetic. Especially the girl and the black-haired kid, he said with a scowl, causing both of them to try and hit him, only to be held by Kakashi. I assure you we will be more than enough. I am an elite Chunan after all, and my team are some of the strongest Genins, he said, then turned to his team, Team 7, go to your homes to prepare for a week-long trip. Meet at the East Gate in 1 hour. Dismissed, he said seriously, and they nodded, exiting the building. Naruto rushed out, but instead of going to his apartment, he went to meet Amon. As he rushed inside the building, he almost crashed on him. Oh hi Naruto. I am afraid your house isn't finished. Compal, I know it isn't, I came to ask if it would be done by the end of the week. He stopped him. Amon scratched his chin. I believe it will be. I also have to say, thanks to your money, we managed to hire enough workers and get all the supplies in time to finish something that would take 3 months in only 1 month, he said proudly. Naruto nodded, glad to hear it. I am going on a mission and won't return till the end of the week. Yarne, he said and rushed out. As he was running, he suddenly came to a halt, only to facepalm himself. Why am I running? I know the Shunshin, he muttered, only to disappear in a swirl of leaves. He teleported in his apartment. It was a plain one, holding only the necessary furniture. As he entered his bedroom, he opened a small wardrobe. On its doors were rows of scrolls titled differently. Inside the wardrobe lay a set of protective gear, similar to the ones worn by Anbu. Also, it holded his Nodaki, the blade he usually used when he wanted to play with his enemies as an Anbu. It was made of chakra metal and held on a smoke-black sheath. He wore the protective gear, sheathed the Nodaki on his back, while he placed his chakra blades on his waist. He took a scroll titled C Rank Gear, another titled Healing, one titled Rations, and one titled Survival Items. He placed them all on a small table and sealed them inside a slightly bigger scroll. He placed that scroll on his back, making an X with the Nodaki. He looked himself on the mirror and nodded, exiting the apartment. He arrived at the East Gate, earning surprised looks from his teammates due to his armor and sword. A moment later, Kakashi arrived with the builder. Everyone here. Good, let's move out, he said. It was time for Team 7's first mission to begin. Road to Wave. Team 7 was walking to Wave in a defensive formation. Tazuna, the client, was in the middle, with Sakura and Sasuke at his sides, Kakashi at the front and Naruto at the rear. Sakura turned to him, Naruto, where are your supplies? He merely took out his scroll, earning an eyebrow from Sakura. His supplies are sealed in the scroll, Sakura explained Kakashi, earning a look of surprise from Sakura. She then started a conversation with the bridge builder, regarding Wave. At some moment, she turned to Wave. Kakashi-sensei, doesn't Wave have shinobi? No, Sakura. Wave isn't rich enough to afford an academy, thus they ask for help from other villages like Konoha. She nodded and stopped talking. Suddenly, Naruto noticed a puddle in the front, a puddle, but it hasn't rained in weeks. Kakashi knows it, I'm sure, but makes no move. Ah, now I get it, he wants to see who they're after. He thought. They passed the puddle, Tazuna and his teammates unaware. Suddenly, the puddle shifted and two nuke nins with a chain as a weapon appeared. They surrounded Kakashi with the chain and shredded him in pieces, causing Sakura to scream, but take a kunai out regardless. They turned to Tazuna, one to go. They said in unison and rushed at him, however Sasuke appeared in front of them and screamed, fire release, grand fireball, aiming at the chain. A fireball went their way, causing them to split the chain and dodge it. However, Naruto appeared in front of one, slicing him with his chakra blades, blood gushing from his chest, falling to the ground. Meizu. The other screamed, and rushed at Naruto, only to get a kunai to the shoulder by Sasuke. Before he could get up, Kakashi appeared and placed his knee on his chest, a kunai to his neck, causing him to stop moving. Sakura screamed from her position, Kakashi-sensei. How? ? She thought, then looked at her sensei's dead body, only to see splintered wood. Kawarimi. She inwardly exclaimed. I wanted to see how you would do. He said, and I was not disappointed. Sasuke, Naruto, great job at incapacitating your targets. You too, Sakura. You knew your weakness and decided to protect the client. I am proud of you. He smiled, then turned to the downed nuke nin, only to see him unconscious. These are the demon brothers, Gozu and Meizu, nuke nins from Kiri. They were after you, Tazuna. Why? He said, looking at him, his eyes narrowed, causing him to sigh and tell the truth. Kakashi sighed, this mission is above our level. We should head, but Naruto shaked his head, I am going. Sasuke joined, if he is going, I am going too. So am I. Sakura screamed once Sasuke spoke. Kakashi sighed, all right, we will continue, he said, causing Tazuna to nod with tears. Thank you, he said. Kakashi tied him to a tree to be picked by Anbu and the team continued the journey. Wave. Team 7 were in a boat, heading for Tazuna's house. Despite the mist, Tazuna's bridge could be seen clearly. Wow, Sakura exclaimed while Naruto merely whistled. Be quiet, the boat driver hissed. After a while, they got to ground. As they walked, Naruto suddenly threw a kunai at a bush, only for a frightened white rabbit to jump out. Are you an idiot, Naruto? You almost killed the poor thing. Sakura screamed, but Naruto ignored her. That rabbit's coat is white, it should be brown at this time of year, unless it was grown indoors. He widened his eyes, with Kakashi shouting, get down. Courtesy of a large sword passing overheads and embedding itself deep in a tree. A man shunshined above it. He was tall and muscular, with spiky black hair and brown eyes. He wore bandages covering his mouth. What is this? A team of genin. And the legendary Kakashi the copycat. No wonder the demon brothers failed. He spoke. Kakashi stepped forward, his eyes narrowed. Zabuza Momoki. Demon of the Mist. A rank ninja. You will fight me. He said, uncovering his Sharingan. The Sharingan. I am deeply honored. He grinned, jumping down and lifting his sword. He did a hand seal, Kirigakure no Jutsu. He exclaimed, covering the area with mist. Team 7 Delta formation. Protect the client. He said, with Sasuke and Sakura taking the side with a kunai and Naruto the front, his chakra blades coated with wind chakra. 8 points, liver, lungs, heart. Jugular vein, larynx, subclavian artery, kidneys, brain. Which one to strike first? He said through the mist, releasing his killer intent. This P pressure is you unbearable. Sakura thought. Sasuke took a kunai, I might as well end this. I can't stand it. However, Kakashi stopped him, don't worry Sasuke, I won't let any of my students die. He said. Is that so? Zabuza shouted and swinged from behind towards the bridge builder. However, he was stopped, thanks to Naruto, who blocked them with his chakra blades. I am impressed, kid. He said before he was stabbed in the back by Kakashi, only to transform into water. Mizu Bunshin, he muttered, only to duck under a swing. Kakashi sent a kick towards him, only to block and respond with a punch. The taijutsu match carried on for a few minutes, until both jumped back and went through hand seals at insane speeds. They stopped on the same hand seal, water release, water dragon bullet. They both shouted. Two large dragons appeared and crashed on each other. Amazing, Sakura thought. So this is a Chunan battle. Sasuke thought. After the jutsu, Kakashi kicked Zabuza into the lake only for him to disappear. As Kakashi rushed on top of the water, he noticed something. This water is coated with chakra, oh no. He exclaimed, only to be trapped in a ball of water, held by Zabuza. Water prison, success, he said. Kakashi cursed and turned to his team, run. You can't fight him. Only to get a smirk from Naruto. Oh come on Kakashi. Weren't you the one who stressed in every team meeting, those who break the rules are trash, but those who abandon their comrades are worse than trash? Besides, I can handle him, he said grinning. Sasuke also stepped forward, I won't back down from this fight. He simply said. Zabuza smirked and made 10 Mizu Bunshin, only for 5 to be swiftly cut down by Naruto who rushed at him. Sasuke handled the other 5. He ordered and sent his chakra blades at Zabuza with intense speeds. He caught one and dodged the other by leaning, only for Naruto to appear on him at breakneck speeds, his hand reared back, earth release, fist rock. He said with a grin, punching Zabuza with his rock-coated punch in the chest, sending him flying, the jutsu broken. As Kakashi rose, he rushed at him. Zabuza got up painfully and started doing hand signs, Kakashi copying him, will you stop copying me? You are really annoying. Kakashi kept interrupting, can you see the future? Yes. And I see your death, he said finishing the hand seals first, water release, great waterfall. He said sending out a torrent of water that sent Zabuza crashing on a tree. Zabuza struggled to get up, however he fell to the ground when 2 senbon struck his neck. A hunter nin appeared, turning to them, you were right. He died, he said to Kakashi. She went to pick him up, only to dodge a hail of shuriken, courtesy of Naruto. She immediately grabbed him and disappeared. Why did you attack him, Naruto Barker? He turned to her, a grin in his face, shut up, or face oblivion. He said creepily, causing her to shut up, fear in her eyes. He picked Kakashi up and turned to Tazuna, lead us to the house. Sasuke, Sakura take positions next to Tazuna. He ordered, his tone leaving no room for protest. With that, they carried on for Tazuna's house. After an hour, they finally arrived. It was small, connected to a lake. The door was opened by a beautiful woman with long blue hair wearing a pink shirt and blue skirt. Oh, thank the gods. Father, you all right? She said with worry, only for him to smirk, ah, don't worry. I had these awesome ninja to protect me. At that point Naruto interfered, excuse me miss, not to be rude or anything, but is there a place for us to put our sensei? He said, causing her to widen her eyes, oh yes. Please come in. Thank you, he replied. As they entered the house, Kakashi was placed in the couch only to get a slap by Naruto, causing him to wake up, ow. Don't be so harsh. Don't pretend to be asleep, he replied, his hands glowing green and placing them on Kakashi's chest. After a while he said his diagnosis, you don't have serious injuries, just chakra exhaustion. It will take you a week to recuperate, maybe less. Causing Kakashi to sigh. We got a week to prepare for Zabuza. Naruto said, causing Tazuna and his team to widen their eyes, but the hunter nin killed him. Only for Naruto to shake his head, he used senbon and aimed for the neck. She struck a nerve to make him fall unconscious and be placed in a death-like state. Also, a true hunter nin would have burned the body on the spot, not take it with him. Zabuza is very much alive, he said, causing the others to get scared. How long will it take for him to recuperate? Kakashi asked, only for Naruto to place a hand on his chin. While he didn't suffer from chakra exhaustion like you, he got more injuries, definitely cracked ribs from my punch, not to mention the death-like state puts a lot of strain to the body. 2 weeks, one with a good healer, he explained. Kakashi nodded and turned to his team. Until I am back on my feet, Naruto is the team leader, he said, causing Sakura to screech, Sasuke-kun should be the leader, he is the best. Only to get a glare by the rest of the room. Naruto, you must train them. Causing him to sigh in displeasure. He turned to Tsunami, forgive our rudeness. I am Namikaze Naruto, the Banshee is Haruno Sakura, the Emo is Sasuke and our sensei is Hitaki Kakashi. Pleasure to meet you, he said with a bow, causing her to smile and do the same, I am Tsunami. Thank you for escorting my father, she said, do you have spare rooms, Tsunami-san? We have 2 spare rooms, she said. Alright, Kakashi and Sasuke will take 1 room. Sakura the other. Only to get a raised eyebrow by Sasuke, where will you sleep? Only to get a, I won't. In response, along with Naruto making 6 Kage Bunshin, guard the house, he ordered, causing them to nod. Training will begin tomorrow at 10 a.m., he said. At that moment Inari showed up. Inari, say hi to these ninjas who protected your grandpa. Tsunami said, only for Inari to look at him. Why? They will die, he said without emotion, only to get annoyed glances. He stood up and left, causing Tsunami to sigh, I apologize for that. Only to get a shake of the head, don't be. He is only a child. He said. After dinner and some light talk, Team 7 and Tazuna's family went to bed. Naruto stood on top of the roof, thinking about everything, him. Zabuza is alive, but this Gato guy will no doubt call reinforcements. High-level reinforcements. From what I know, he possesses a vast wealth and owns a number of companies, some related to ninjas. Heck, this guy from what I learned from Anbu is charged for everything, from slave and arms trading, to robbery and murder. I think it wouldn't hurt to borrow his wealth. As for Zabuza, I will try to recruit him. An A-rank ninja like him will be a good addition to my future army, he thought. He looked at the moon, his eyes reflecting it, his hand curled into a fist. Just you wait, Shinju, I will become worthy of your power, he thought with a smirk. Wave Country. Gato's mansion was a building signifying power. Surrounded by guards on all locations, it was his base of operations in Wave Country. It used to be the palace of the Wave Daimyo, but after the takeover of Wave, it became Gato's estate of drugs and prostitution. In a room, you could find the fake hunter Nin, taking care of Zabuza, who kept cursing, damn that Hitaki. When I am up I will rip off his head. And that Gaki, he will pay for that punch. He said bitterly and turned to the hunter, and you just had to hit me in the neck of all places. The neck is the best and swiftest place for the effect. It had to be done, the Nin said, a hint of amusement in the voice. Then, Gato came in, followed by 2 samurai wannabes. He looked at Zabuza with a scowl. Oh, look at the great demon. A team of genin took you down. Is this all I get for the money I paid you? Exclamation mark quote. He yelled. I underestimated them. They had Kakashi the copy ninja with them. I will get them next time, he said with a huff. Gato approached his bed, you better or you will act. He yelled in pain when the hunter Nin grabbed his arm and twisted it. He fell back as his 2 guards placed their hands on their blades, only for him to reveal 3 senbon ready for use. Gato shaked his head at them and they standed down. You got 1 week. If you fail, I will hire someone more suitable. He growled and exited the room. You didn't have to do that, Haku. Zabuza said, revealing a kunai, only for her to shake her head, don't overexert yourself. Just rest, Zabuza-sama. She said it had been 4 days since Naruto became team leader and both Sakura and Sasuke finally agreed on one thing. He was a slave driver. Every day he had them do physical exercises that made Sakura look like she was about to commit seppuku and Sasuke look like a tired, annoyed Sasuke. However, today seemed to be different. All right. Today we shall learn to climb trees. Naruto said to them, getting weird looks, Naruto, we already know how. He merely walked forward to a tree. Do you know how to climb a tree? Then walked up the tree, without hands. He said, his hands in his pocket, causing them to widen their eyes. The principle is simple. You must apply a fixed amount of chakra to the soles of your feet and use it to stick on the tree. Too much, you get thrown off. Too little, you fall. Use these, he said as he fell from the tree with a backflip, while simultaneously throwing 2 kunai, 1 for each, at their feet, to record your progress. He said, I suggest you get a running head start. Begin, he said, taking out a cigar. Naruto watched them practicing. In a short time, Sakura reached the top. Good, Sakura. Now keep doing the exercise until you run out of chakra. This exercise doesn't only help your control, your reserves get a boost as well. He explained, causing her to nod and continue. He then turned to Sasuke, who wasn't doing so well. Remember, Sasuke. Focus, he advised, causing him to scowl but calm down. He runned up the tree and run a considerable longer distance before he fell off, causing him to smirk, but throw a thankful nod towards Naruto. Naruto nodded in response and continued monitoring them. Unknown to them, Kakashi observed them with an ice smile. Soon the sun was about to set, when Sasuke mastered the exercise. Congratulations, he told them. Now, Time to get back, he said. As they entered the house, they saw Tsunami cooking. Hello, Tsunami-san. The food smells delicious. She turned and smiled. Why thank you. Gather everyone, food is almost ready. The team and Tazuna's family ate, with most of them wondering how Naruto and Kakashi could eat with their masks on. However, Inari finally had enough, it seemed. He slammed his hands on the table and glared at the ninja. Why are you still trying? You will lose. Gato has hundreds of thugs. He scowled, only to get a snort from Naruto. They are just that. Thugs. They stand no chance against a trained team of ninjas. He replied, causing Inari to scowl further. You are naive. You stand no chance. You sit and train and eat, while you don't know what our country has been through. I bet you have a loving family and house back home and have never felt sadness. You know nothing of suffering. He yelled. The room's temperature dropped considerably. Naruto had his head down, his bangs obscuring his eyes. I know nothing of suffering. You dare say that to my face? He said, an enormous pressure falling to the room, golden chakra surrounding Naruto like a fountain, his eyes turning to a sickly gold. The rest of the room were terrified. Naruto pointed to Kakashi. His father suicided cause the village hated him for saving his teammates. His closest friends died in the Third Shinobi War. While he watched helplessly, he spoke, his voice getting slightly deeper. He then pointed to Sasuke. His older brother massacred his entire clan, for the sake of power, in one night. He then had him watch the entire massacre, all of it in under a second, for 72 hours. He then disappeared and appeared in front of Inari, grabbing him by the shirt and lifting him up, causing Kakashi to yell, "Stop, Naruto!" While the rest of the room stood helplessly and watched. He looked at the boy right in the eyes, his golden eyes having slits. As for me, tell me, boy, have you had thousands of beatings by your fellow villagers? Hundreds of assassinations attempts before the age of 6. Did you have to grow up for 3 years in the streets, looking for scrap and rubbish so you can survive? Did you have to kill at 4 years old? All because you were hated for something you never asked for? No. Then don't tell me I don't know. Suffering. He growled the last part and dropped him to the floor. He turned to the door. I am going to blow some steam. He coldly said and left. The room was silent for a while, then Sakura painfully asked, is what he said true, Kakashi-sensei? Only for him to nod sadly. That was the sugar-coated version. Causing the room to widen their eyes to the size of dinner plates. I watched Naruto when he grew up. I had seen what has happened to him. Worse things that you can imagine, he said lowly. Tsunami and Sakura were in tears. Inari stood still, too shocked to do anything. Tazuna was cursing, while looking sad, and Sasuke was thinking, he knows my pain, no, he knows more pain than I ever could. Someone like me. He then asked the question in everyone's minds, how? How is he still going? After all he has been through, how can he still smile, laugh, joke and live like that? Sasuke yelled. Kakashi answered again, Naruto has a strong will, the strongest I have ever seen. It isn't surprising that the Hokage says Naruto's will of fire is a luminous sun. However, I fear the day all the pent-up emotions surface. What he will do that day. For the most dangerous sun, is the one who has died and becomes a solar explosion, which brings total devastation to anything in the vicinity. He cryptically spoke and went upstairs. The residents had a lot to think about. Wave forest. Naruto stood in the middle of a forest, hacking, slashing, punching, kicking, destroying anything he found. He growled, damn brat. He said, cutting a tree in half with his nodaki. He kept going, golden aura surrounding his body. Suddenly, he put wind chakra to his blade and threw it to a dozen trees, cutting them all. Wind release, vacuum wave. He yelled, spinning around, as razor-sharp winds were released in all directions, cutting many trees in half. The moment he stopped, he immediately did more hand seals, water release, great waterfall. Quote. An enormous torrent of water spew out of his mouth and destroyed everything in its path for a large distance. He then encompassed his arm in electricity, the lightning turning golden slightly, due to the gold chakra. A screeching was heard, as he pointed to a tree. Chidori, sharp spear. He growled and sent a beam of lightning to the other direction, making some trees catch fire. He did more hand seals, earth release, tearing earth turning palm. He punched the ground, rocks flying around, causing a fissure. He kept going all night. A young girl, wearing a pink kimono walked with a basket, only to widen her eyes towards the forest, did a tornado pass through. However, she shook her head as she sensed chakra residue. Powerful chakra at that. She kept walking until she saw a boy, the boy who shot her those shuriken. She outstretched an arm, going to strangle him, but instead she woke him up. Naruto opened his eyes and looked at her. Are you a ninja? He simply nodded. Yay. I was training and fell asleep. She looked around, some training, and turned to him. What are you doing here? I came to pick herbs. No doubt for Zabuza, he said, catching her punch, a smirk on his face. Relax. I won't attack you, he said, dropping her punch to the side. I want you to heal him. I have a proposal for you too. The now revealed Hunter Nin rose her eyebrow. What proposal? He rose. I know your skills. I also know as well as you do that Gato will betray you. So, I ask that you may join me. She narrowed her eyes. I am sorry, but if we wanted to join Konoha, I didn't say Konoha. I said me, more importantly, join me and be under my clan protection. He interrupted, causing her to tilt her head to the side. You have a clan. He nodded. I am the last of one. However, I come from two powerful Konoha clans, so my name carries a lot of power. I will make sure you and Zabuza get to be happy. All I ask is your loyalty, he exclaimed, causing her to think about it. Don't think now. Contact Zabuza. Then, once you meet me at the bridge, give me your answer. He stopped, not knowing her name. She nodded and turned her back on him. However, she stopped and said, I am Haku. And I am a boy. He simply turned the other way, and I didn't destroy the forest, he said with a smirk and disappeared before she could say another word. Zabuza-sama. She thought. Naruto came back at the house, but didn't spoke to anyone. He simply sat on top of a rock and was either smoking, sharpening his sword, or not being there. 2 more days passed. Naruto had been off to a morning scouting, however, once he came back, he heard screaming. As he walked around the house, he noticed 2 of Gato's thugs. Narrowing his eyes, he disappeared, only to appear behind them and slash both of their necks with his chakra blades. He turned to see Tsunami, with Inari in front, both of them with fear in their eyes. Naruto made 5 Kage Bunshin, watch them. He then turned to Inari, you were brave. Keep being so, he merely said and disappeared, with Inari having stars in his eyes. Bridge. Kakashi, Sasuke and Sakura were in a hard struggle. They went to the bridge to guard Tazuna only for Zabuza and his fake Hunter Nin to appear. Kakashi fought Zabuza inside the mist, Sasuke battled the Hunter Nin in a dome of ice mirrors and Sakura was guarding Tazuna. That was the situation until Naruto arrived. Knowing Kakashi could hold his own, Naruto decided to handle Haku first. He swiftly jumped over the dome, to see Sasuke impaled by many senbon and about to take dozens more. He yelled, wind release, great breakthrough, and spat out a gust of wind, knocking the senbon away. A smirk formed on Sasuke's face as he was about to collapse, but Naruto caught him. Carefully, he placed him down. Good job, Sasuke. Now rest. He said only to get a nod and silence. He turned to Haku, well, now to deal with you. He said. His response was her entering the mirrors and throwing senbon in different directions only for him to dodge them. He's fast, she thought as she continued. Give up. You can't keep track of me and my mirrors. She was cut off as he appeared above her and sent an axe kick at one of the mirrors, shattering it in half. Impossible. She yelled only to meet a fist. As she narrowly dodged, another mirror was destroyed. This kept on until Naruto had enough. He went through hand seals, while smirking, lightning release, wave of inspiration, and pressed his hand on a mirror. Powerful lightning coursed through it, shattering it, only for the electrical pieces to touch other mirrors, giving off the same effect. This caused a chain reaction, breaking all the mirrors, with Haku narrowly dodging the shock. However, Naruto appeared above her, his fist curled back, lightning surrounding him. With a shout of lightning release, lightning rod, he punched her mask, cracking it, along with sending a bolt of electricity in her body. She fell to the ground, her mask now torn off by Naruto. Be a good girl and stay here, he said, then turned to the direction he felt powerful chakra from. He muttered as he rushed off. In a few seconds, he saw Zabuza kept in place by Kakashi's tracker dogs, as he made the famous Reikiri and sped off to finish him, with Haku teleporting to stop it. However, he came in front and caught his wrist, sending a pulse of chakra, cancelling the jutsu to Kakashi's shock. He pushed him away. What are you doing, Naruto? He yelled. Naruto snorted and turned to Zabuza. The hell you doing, Zabuza? Didn't you think the deal? He said, causing Zabuza to snort, as the tracker dogs dispelled and Zabuza fell, only for Haku to hold him. Zabuza-sama. She yelled. He painfully turned to her. I'm sorry, Haku. He said for the first time, causing her to widen her eyes. Zabuza-sama, she said. Then clapping was heard from the opposite end of the bridge. They turned only to see Gato, with an army of thugs and a nuke nin next to him. He had green hair and blue eyes, while wearing an Omegakure headband. His clothing consisted of a pink sleeveless shirt, with a black line running along the zipper, black armbands and black anbu pants. He held an umbrella and had a smirk on his face. This is all the famous demon of the mist can do. I wanted you to weaken him enough so I can kill all of you, but it seems you're unable to do even that. He sneered. Gato, Zabuza growled, but closed his eyes in pain, blood flowing from his legs where the dogs bit him. Aoi, please be a good friend and finish him off. With pleasure, Aoi said and released his umbrella, Senbon shower. He yelled, as the umbrella released hundreds of Senbon to their vicinity. They would have been pincushions, if not for Naruto. He unsealed 3 windmill shuriken and threw them around them, locking them in a triangle and with a yell of lightning release, thunder binding. A triangle-shaped lightning barrier formed around them, blocking the shuriken. Rokusho Aoi, Konoha nuke nin. Kakashi said from inside the barrier. He then did hand seals, ignoring Kakashi's shout of wait. Lightning release. Lightning jaguar. The lighting barrier transformed into a jaguar made of electricity. It roared as it sped to Ao. However, before it could reach him, Aoi took out a sword handle and with a tearing sound, a blade of lightning was formed, which cut down the jaguar with his. Naruto narrowed his eyes. The sword of the thunder god, he muttered, though something else was on his mind. How does he have the sealed form of a holy weapon? Questions raced in his mind, but he shrugged them off. He needed that blade. He took out his Nodaki, made of chakra metal. He covered it in electricity and swiftly charged forward, with Aoi doing the same. They met in the center, their swords clashing as sparks flew. Naruto growled as his blade gained slight cracks, despite the lightning fortifying it. He pushed back Aoi and swinged at him, lightning wave. He yelled, as a wave of lightning chakra went his way, only for him to swing his sword and destroy it. He then dashed at him and continued the sword clashing, his sword to the point of breaking after Aoi blocked one of Naruto's more powerful swings. Naruto, however, used the blocking to appear in front of Aoi, a chidori in his hand. He stabbed the lightning blade at its base, cracking it slightly, to ease unawareness, while jumping back, curling his hand into a fist. His hand was surrounded by blue chakra, with him charging forward and punching the sword where the chidori hit. The lightning blade disappeared for a second, to ease horror, which was all Naruto needed. In that split second, he stabbed his chest, then raised with a swift motion the blade upwards, cracking the sword inside I's dying body. He tossed the handle aside with a sad sigh, as he grabbed the Thunder God blade from I's hand. He placed it on his waist, as he turned to notice Gato's scowl. Gato turned to his thugs, kill him. But keep the girls alive. They will prove fine entertainment along with the women we will take after we sack the village. He yelled, the thugs roaring and charging. Zabuza took his blade, as him and Kakashi joined Naruto's side. Kid, if we survive this, I will join you, he muttered. Naruto simply smirked and threw Kakashi his chakra blades. Don't lose them, he said as he crouched low. Now, he yelled, the 3 of them running to intercept the thugs. All hell broke loose. Zabuza used his executioner blade to cut thugs left and right. Kakashi surrounded his chakra blades with lightning, as he moved from one opponent to the other. Naruto was a blur of death. He was breaking necks, hands and legs left and right and targeted weak points of the body. At one point, he had twisted a man's arm, took his sword, cut off his head, then threw it at another man. Before the man could respond, a sword cut through the head, along with the man's chest. Gato was seen rushing to the back. Naruto showed him, then with a cry of lightning release, electromagnetic murder. The last line of defense was broken. Naruto grabbed Gato from the throat and lifted him up. Please. Spare me, he begged. Naruto smirked, I won't kill you, he said, causing Gato to sigh, they will. He added and showed him the band of villagers, led by Inari. He threw Gato at their feet and the beating begun. He then turned to his team, to see Sakura crying over Sasuke's injured form. With a sigh, he sat down, having lost quite a bit of chakra from the continuous jutsu. Damn. I should have taken off the seals, he thought. Wave Village. 3 days had passed since the victory at the bridge. After the battle, Naruto had visited Gato's mansion and sacked it. He grabbed anything of value: land papers, blackmail, business administration, title holdings and numerous money accounts. He also got access to his vault and took numerous artifacts along with 30 billion ryo. He kept 10 for himself, 5 for Zabuza and gave the rest to the people of Wave, along with forming business alliances with them. Even if only 3 days had passed, the changes were clear to all. The people were filled with happiness and were optimistic for the days to come. Alas, it was time for the sad goodbye. Do you really have to go, Ni-chan? Inari said with tears in his eyes. Naruto smiled at him. Now Inari. No tears. I want you to be a good boy and protect your family, all right? He said, ruffling his hair, causing him to nod happily. Yes. And I will practice to be as strong as you, he said. Gone was the sad boy, now stood a happy one, ready to protect his family. Good. He rose. He turned to Zabuza. So, you said you will come in a month? He said, with Zabuza nodding. Yes. I want to help the Wave get back on its feet for a bit, while recovering from my injuries. He said, causing him to nod and shake his hand. I will expect you in a month then. Don't be late or I will open the wounds again, he said with a grin. To get one from Zabuza, in your dreams, Gaki, he said. Naruto simply laughed and joined his team. All right, Team 7. Time to return, Kakashi said with a nice smile. As they were leaving and waving goodbyes, Tazuna suddenly slapped his forehead. I forgot to name the bridge. He groaned, but then grinned. I say we name it the Great Tazuna Bridge. Only to get laughs from everyone. We should name it the Great Naruto Bridge, Inari yelled, with the crowd roaring in agreement. Zabuza simply looked at the boy's back. Great Naruto Bridge, huh? You will go far, kid, he thought, a small smile rising behind the bandages. Hokage Tower. Sarutobi Hiruzen has lived many years, finished many missions and gave out even more. He has seen many weird things happening, but never in his entire life has he seen a C-rank mission turn to a rank. He looked at Team 7 after Kakashi finished his report with a small twitch. He coughed in his hand. Well, despite the circumstances, I congratulate you for finishing an A-rank mission. Your pay will be added to your accounts. You have 2 days free of missions. Dismissed, except you, Naruto, he said. The others looked at Naruto weirdly, except Kakashi, who was busy reading his book, but nonetheless left. Naruto simply sat in a chair. What do you want, Hokage Gigi? He said with a smirk at the Hokage's glare, as he took out a cigar. The Hokage sighed. I just wanted to know what you're going to do with the Raijin and that E's bounty will go to your account, he said. Naruto closed his eyes. Thank you for the cash, I will use it until I find a better replacement. But there is more to this. I know there is, he said. Hiruzen nodded. I also wanted to talk to you about your position as the last of a clan, he said, causing Naruto to snort. What is there to talk about? If this is about the CRA, then it is fine. Marriage proposals have come by the dozens, Hiruzen said, causing Naruto to cough out his cigar, then look at him in surprise. Already? I thought they wouldn't start until after the Chunan exams, he said. The council sent the letters regarding the activation of the law. Even the clans in Konoha have prepared potential brides. Damn those lecherous civilians. And you let it occur, he said, his eyes gaining a small gold tint. You know I had no choice. And I am not the one who gets famous in the bingo book, he said, tossing him the latest version, page 910. He said. Naruto raised an eyebrow, then looked at the page with a raised eyebrow. The hell? Since when am I in the bingo book as an A-rank ninja? He wondered. Since you beat this Momoki Zabuza, he got as a response. Naruto sighed, calming down, as he placed the bingo book in his pouch. Who are the potential brides from Konoha? He said, his eyes gaining a slight gleam. Hiruzen coughed his hand. Hiashi desires you to marry him. No. Too weak, he said, causing Hiruzen to raise an eyebrow. Naruto-kun, the Hyuga are one of the most powerful clans, and I have the power to destroy an army. Next, he said, leaving no room for argument on the matter. Well, next the Inuzuka clan suggests Inuzuka Hana. They say she will be a good alpha female, he said, Naruto thinking, she is strong and good looking, but alpha female. Ha, he said. Next is Ino Yamanaka. Oh, I remember her. He said, good looking, with potential. Add her and Hanata, considering. He said with a smirk, what else? He said. They also sent letters to clans and nations throughout the world. He said, we expect response to come during the end of the Chunan exams. He said, causing Naruto to nod, speaking of the exams, when you participate and become a Chunan, you will be allowed to sit in council meetings. He replied. Naruto nodded, thought so. He said. By the way, what will you do with Zabuza? He asked, I will put him under the protection of my clan. He merely said, as he took another cigar. I see. Finally, I want you to know these Chunan exams will be visited by every nation for obvious reasons. Naruto looked at him and nodded, do you have free time? He said, changing the conversation and causing him to nod with a smile, thanks to your generosity, favors. Yes, I got more time now, he said. Naruto nods, rising, come grab my shoulder. It will only take a minute, he said. Hiruzen raised an eyebrow, but nodded nonetheless. He touched Naruto's shoulder and they were gone in a shunshin of lightning. Clan estates. Hiruzen looked with eyes ready to pop at what Naruto teleported them outside of. He stood outside a large iron gate, made of intricate designs. It was placed on a tall and thick wall, made of what appeared to be chakra granite, that looked impossible to lift. On top of the gate, stood a sigil he didn't know. It had the head of a wolf, with 10 tails behind him, each tail holding a symbol. 5 for each element, 1 for Bakai, 1 for Makai, 1 for Ninjankai, 1 for creation and 1 for destruction. Besides the large acre of land it surrounded, almost twice the size of the Hyuga compound, nothing was normal. Besides, of course, the enormous estate that stood on the center. It was enormous, standing 100 feet up in the sky, almost the size of the Hokage Tower. Made of chakra wood and stone, it was designed more as a castle than an estate. What is this? When was this made? Why wasn't I informed? He asked in his shock. Naruto grinned as he took out his drink, I ordered its construction after our meeting when you made me genin. And I am certain you got a form regarding a new clan estate. He said. Hiruzen squinted his eyes, then widened them as he indeed signed such a paper, but didn't read it in his haste to read Ika Ika. He sighed, to have made something so big, with these materials, in so little time must have cost a fortune. He replied. Billions of Ryo to be exact. A voice interrupted. They turned to see it was Amon. Namikaze-san asked for the house to be made to withstand any assault. It costed a fortune of billions, but we managed to make one of the most defensible buildings in the world. Naruto nodded, thanks to Gato though, I am steadily getting back those Ryo. Can you give a rundown of the fort so Hokage-sama can hear it? Amon nodded and turned to the fort. The walls surrounding the estate as well as the ones of the house are made of chakra granite. The gate is made of high-quality chakra steel. Inside is a large area capable of housing a large town. The fort is 100 feet tall. It is made of chakra oak wood. It has 40 guest rooms, 11 family rooms, 29 bathrooms, a kitchen, a living room, a dining hall, a meeting room, an armory, a library, 3 training rooms and a control room. There is also a large underground hall split into 10 sectors, each as big as 5 rooms, left for Namikaze-san to model. Finally, below that lies a bunker made entirely of chakra cement, surrounded by a thick layer of chakra titanium. All in all, it is a fortress in Konoha, he said. Naruto turned to see the Hokage having a blank face. He swinged his arm to his face, getting no reaction. He sighed, calling the Anbu to take the broken Hokage. He then turned to Amon and tossed him an envelope. Inside lies a check for 1 million Ryo. Distribute them to those who worked for this, he said, getting a nod and a smile from Amon. As he left, Naruto turned to the fort, cracking his knuckles. He made 100 kage bunshin and said, time for work. Castle Takezo must be full of seals by nightfall, he said, with the clones nodding and rushing to work. Castle Takezo. The sun's rays shone inside Naruto's new room. He slowly opened his eyes, rising slowly as he stretched his arms. He yawned, before looking outside, seeing the sunrise, then at his room. It was a room fit for a lord. The walls were made of polished dark oak wood, giving the room a feel of a cabin. He laid on a king-sized bed, made of white iron, the sheets a pure white color. On the right, stood a large wardrobe made of the same wood as the walls, while on the left laid a wooden office. As he rose, he changed into his clothes, then laid eyes to the opposite of the room. There, laid an armor stand, without any armor, along with hooks on the wall for various weaponry. His eyes especially laid on the two empty sword holsters. With a sigh, he placed the Ragen on one of the holsters as he thought he should find a demon or an angel blade soon. He knew very well that the chances of finding another god blade were 1 in a million, not to mention his body can't handle more than one god blade until he reached demigod status. Right now, he needed 2 more years for that. He then turned to the armor stand and went towards the table. He grabbed a pen and ink and wrote a letter. He nodded, then created a cage bunch and, get this to Gato's council. Tell them the boss demands one to be made. The clone nodded and disappeared. He sighed and went to the kitchen. He ate breakfast, as he thought of the seals. Let's see. I added seals to the walls, the gate and every inch of the castle. The barrier seals are placed in the control room, along with the link to all the seals in the house. I placed their special high-level seals, along with enough chakra to make me fall asleep in 5 minutes. It should be enough to hold for a century or so, since the new seals reduce the chakra needed for it to work. All I need now is to get those defense machines I ordered while the clones worked, he thought. He finished his breakfast and washed the dishes, then went to the armory. The armory was a large room and its purpose was like the name suggested. It stored Naruto's weapons. 3 walls had hooks on them for weapons, while the other wall was filled with drawers. Inside the drawers laid scrolls filled with different weapons, provisions, rations, medical kits, poisons and anything combat related. The right wall was filled with different types of swords, from Kodakus and Wakizashi, to Nodaki and Okatanas. It even had some strange swords like a claymore or a rapier. The left wall featured heavy weapons like battle axes, spears, bow staffs, war hammers and even some morning stars. Finally, the wall behind him was filled with different types of ranged weaponry, from demon and windmill shurikens to longbows and crossbows. On the center of the room, laid armor stands with armors appearing similar to those Anbu wore. He grabbed the weapons he needed, then went outside, while drinking his carbon drink. As he went outside, he made around 100 cage bunchen and said, 35 of you work on the new seals. Another 35 will work on creating clan houses on designated areas. The rest go grab the defensive machines and install them, he said, getting salutes. With a sigh he went out to Konoha. Konoha Gate. Naruto waited at the gate for around an hour, before he saw Zabuza and Haku walking towards Konoha. He approached Izumo and Kotetsu, the gate guards, and showed them the papers. With a nod, they led those two in, albeit with narrowed eyes. He turned to Zabuza and Haku and smirked, welcome to Konoha. Zabuza snorted, I have been here before Gaki, and Naruto-sama, he said, scratching his head at the end. Haku, however, looked around in wonder. Naruto smiled and made a cage bunchen. This clone will show you around, then he will help you go to the house. There, after you sort your things out, you may do as you wish. I have businesses to attend to, he said, causing them to nod as they went with the clone. Naruto turned and went to the village. He hummed, as he looked around for anything to do. Shrugging, he went towards Ichiraku to get some ramen. As he entered and sat on a stand, Ayami saw him, then turned to him with a smile, good morning Naruto-kun. She said. Naruto nodded with a smile, good morning Ayami-chan. I would like 5 bowls of beef ramen, he said, causing her to nod, coming right up. She then turned towards the back, to-san. 5 beef for Naruto, she said, getting a coming. In response, she turned to him, how are you doing Naruto-kun? I heard you went on a mission. He nodded, yay. Nothing special though, he said as the first bowl was in front of him. She nodded, chatting with him as he ate, but eventually leaving him to attend to other customers. Naruto sighed blissfully, but before he could finish the final bowl, an Anbu appeared. Namikaze-san, the Hokage has summoned you. He says it's urgent. The cat-masked Anbu said. Naruto nodded, I will be there in a moment, he said as he ate quickly his last bowl as she nodded and disappeared. With a sigh, he paid and disappeared as well. Hokage Tower. Naruto stood outside the Hokage's office, thinking what Hiruzen wanted. He could expect a few things, talk of his money, the castle or the Chunan exams. But the scene he walked in, that he never expected. In the room stood the Hokage in his chair, his hands folded together and in front of him, on top of his chin. That wasn't the strange thing. The two people standing next to him were. The first was a woman that stood at 5 feet 8 with long red hair and round violet eyes. She had a curvy figure that would make any man drool, with a bubblegum as and E-cup breasts. She wore black shinobi pants, red sandals and a red shirt with black mesh armor below. She also had a ninjato on her back. The other person was a man at 6 feet 1 with golden blonde hair and lightning blue eyes. He wore blue Chunan pants, a blue muscle shirt, blue sandals and a white trench coat with red flames licking the bottom. Naruto blinked, his eyes widening. Naruto-kun, these are, Hiruzen started but was interrupted. Hello Naruto, said the man with a smile. My name is Namikaze Minato. I am your father. Hokage Tower. Sarutobi never expected this. Not on his wildest dreams. Minato, Kushina, alive. How could this be? He came in his office after going to the Chunan lounge to inform them about the Chunan exams and give out roles, only to find those two there, with smiles on their faces, like nothing happened. But he knew the worst had yet to come. No, he knew it would be when Naruto found out. Which is exactly what happened since they were adamant on seeing the Sochi. But he knew better. Naruto didn't like his parents a lot, but he respected the fact they sacrificed themselves for the village. Even if it meant sacrificing their son. But when he found out what truly happened to them, he wouldn't be angry, like himself was. No, he feared Naruto would break. And even if he could stop him, he wouldn't. He decided to sit and talk only when addressed. God have mercy on us all, he thought, as he looked towards Naruto. Naruto's bangs shadowed his face. He was looking at the ground, trembling, his hands curled into fists, veins forming. How? How are you alive? He spoke in a whisper. Minato talked, a smile in his face, thinking Naruto was like this from joy. Well, when I used the Shikifujin, I used a loophole. Instead of sealing the entire Kyuubi into you, I only sealed the soul. The chakra I sealed it into your sister, he explained. Naruto simply said, my sister. I have a sister. Only for Kushina to nod with a smile, not one. 2 beautiful sisters. The eldest one is Naruko, holding the chakra. After a year, I gave birth to another child, Narumi. Both can't wait to meet you. She said happily. Naruto turned back to Minato, and where were you all this time? Why you left me here? He said, the here coming out like a hiss, which went totally unnoticed by the eye-smiling parents. We thought it was best to leave you here, because Naruko needed to control the chakra. We didn't know what would happen if you were near her without her having full control. They said. That did it. Sarutobi thought with a gulp. A sudden pressure fell on the room, cold and dark. Both parents' eyes widened their eyes, with Kushina and Sarutobi finding it a bit hard to breathe. The pressure was felt in the entire village. Anbu and many Chunan were familiar with the pressure. This was the pressure of the Okami no Shi, Konoha's alpha manslayer. And from the dense feeling, he was pissed. Every ninja close to the tower instantly fell back. They knew the Hokage wasn't gonna be attacked by the Okami and they also knew they shouldn't get near him, or the deaths would be immediate. Genins and civilians cried under the immense pressure. If it was any more potent, it would feel like the Kyuubi attacked yet again. Inside the room, Naruto was surrounded by gold chakra, his nails had become similar to claws, his clenched teeth to fangs and his now open eyes were a sickly gold, with a black slit, like a wolf's. Dark blue lightning crackled around him, as wind picked up below his feet. The tower shook from the immense pressure. Naruto-kun, stop. You will tear down the tower. He yelled. The power soon decreased, the golden aura disappeared and his features went back to normal. But the lightning stayed, signifying that he was too pissed to completely control himself. Will that be all, Hokage-sama? He stressed the word, leaving no room for argument. Hiruzen nodded, with sadness in his eyes. Naruto went to the door but stopped. If you two come near me like this again, prepare for the consequences. He left the threat hanging. As he left the tower, the Hokage's guards which stood outside quickly letting him pass, not wanting to die today. Hiruzen sighed, turning to the shocked parents. He rose, anger in his eyes. Are you completely mad? Exclamation mark quote. He roared at them. They turned to him, too shocked to speak. You come to the village, after 12 years, you tell him you're alive, that he has 2 sisters and that you let him in this hellhole for what? A stupid and untrue reason. Are you both BAKAS? He yelled, releasing his own pressure, sweat dripping in their brows. What do you mean a stupid and untrue reason? Minato asked. Hiruzen calmed down, looking at them with surprise. You really don't know? He asked, causing them to shake their heads. He narrowed his eyes. You mean you really thought you sealed the Kyuubi's soul inside him? Fools. You sealed 5 tails of its chakra inside him. He yelled loudly, causing them to widen and Minato to yell, it can't be. When I summoned the Shinigami Eye, he then stopped widening his eyes more. Kushina turned to him, Minato-kun. She asked. When I summoned the Shinigami, I only told him to begin with Naruto. I never told him to seal the soul inside him. All it sealed was a large red substance in the form of the fox. I thought it was the Kyuubi's soul, but now, it must have been condensed Yuki. He said lowly, causing her to widen her eyes. Then Naruto has the Kyuubi's soul. But she has more than 4 tails. How? Are you an idiot? Naruto is an Uzumaki. She was born with more than enough chakra for the Kyuubi to absorb to quickly recover, not to mention he would recover in time anyways. Hiruzen yelled. Kushina turned to him, but still, what do you mean left him in the hellhole? We asked in a henge the villagers and they all say Naruto-sama is the best genin. Hiruzen growled, that was only after they learned he was your and Minato's son. His eyes then filled with sadness. Naruto didn't live until he became 8 years old. Before that, he suffered. He starved, got poisoned, stabbed, suffered broken bones, got beat by villagers, suffered assassination attempts during the first week of him being a Jinchuriki, if you can call him that, was kicked out of 15 orphanages and even what Sarutobi? Said Minato in a shaky voice. Hiruzen looked down. 3 times, Naruto has been raped. He said. Kushina placed a hand over her mouth, tears flowing down like a river, making sobbing voices, while Minato clenched his fist, tears forming in his eyes too. Hiruzen rose. I saved him from that, but at a cost. Stay and think of what you caused, he said bitterly, leaving the broken parents on their own. Castle Takezo. Zabuza had faced many things in his life. He faced armies of shinobi, hunter nins, elite ninjas and even the Yondai Mizukage, the strongest Mizukage since the time of the Nadaime. Kakashi had faced many things as well. The great Kyuubi no Kitsune being one of them. But both the rank ninjas decided together that one thing they wouldn't never want to face is Naruto pissed. Zabuza and Haku met Team 7 and Kakashi and decided to go to Naruto's new house together. Of course all of them were shocked at the castle. While looking around, they felt, heck the entire village did, an enormous pressure. Then, all the clones went haywire and started activating the barriers and seals and sorting out the things. Then they dispelled, with one warning them that they shouldn't go outside for a few hours. They didn't know what he meant, but now they did. Inside the house, you could see Team 7 and the Mist group hiding in the curtains of a window, as they saw on the open field below, a very pissed Naruto throwing a rank techniques left and right. The field was a mess, cracks, holes, small fissures and combusted grass everywhere. Naruto was currently surrounded by his chakra, as he punched while in midair in rapid succession, at speeds too fast for a Chunan, releasing with each punch golden chakra blasts, each packing the punch of AB rank technique. His roaring pierced the heavens, his energy forcing the field apart. Die, die, he kept yelling, concentrating fire on a specific spot, soon forming a hole fit for a lake. He eventually stopped, as the Hokage rushed at him. Naruto. Stop, he said only to have to dodge a blade of wind that tore the ground. He looked at Naruto and sighed. He took off his robes, revealing his battle armor, as he summoned Enma, the Monkey King. Enma, I need your help. Turn into the bow staff. He said, with Enma looking towards Naruto, taking into account that Naruto's use of energy made his chakra fall rapidly and nodded, transforming into an adamantine stuff. Naruto made a Kase no Yaiba, as he rushed at cage-level speeds and swinged down at him, with Hiruzen raising his staff. A clang was heard, as the ground below Hiruzen caved in from the force. Hiruzen quickly shunshined away and formed hand signs, Earth Release, Earth Flow River. He said, a river of mud forming behind Naruto, stopping his rush, Earth Release, Earth Dragon Bullet. A mud dragon's head formed that shot mud bullets. Fire Release, Fire Dragon Bullet. He shot a wave of fire from his mouth, the mud bullets catching on fire. Naruto roared, Water Release, Great Waterfall. He spat out a torrent of water. The jutsus collided in an explosion. From the smoke came Naruto, two Reikiri in his hands as he slammed them forward. Sarutobi using Enma to defend, but the power behind the jutsu made cracks in the staff, causing Sarutobi to widen his eyes as it was as hard as diamonds. He sent a sweep kick only for Sarutobi to jump, but get hit in the stomach by a following high kick. He was sent flying but used chakra to skid the ground into a halt. He saw Naruto coming at him and went into hand seals, fire release, fire dragon flame bullet. He yelled, releasing a stream of flames. Naruto did hand seals and spawned a wall of stone. The fire hit the rock, causing it to become hot. Hiruzen pushed more chakra, the flames turning white, until an explosion occurred, with Naruto flying back. He flipped in mid-air and pushed his hand into the ground, skidding into a halt, then punched towards Hiruzen, a chakra blast going his way. Hiruzen slammed Enma on it, only to get flying back from the force as it dispelled. At that moment, Enma went back to the summoning realm. Both Naruto and Hiruzen stood into a chance and rushed at each other, going through a battle of jutsu-infused taijutsu battle, Naruto using water and lightning release and Sarutobi using fire and earth release. The battle continued for 5 more minutes, until both Hiruzen and Naruto were too tired to even move. Naruto calmed down, his eyes turning back to blue. Thanks. I needed that, he said and tossed him a chakra pill. Hiruzen caught it with a nod. Don't be. I understand. Besides, it was good to stretch. He said. Naruto turned to the house, explain what happened to them. I need some air himself. He said. Naruto. Before you go, Kakashi came to tell you he applied you both to the Chunan exams. They start in 2 days, he said, with Naruto simply nodding. With a leaf shunshin, he was gone. Konoha. It was a new day in Konoha, not to mention the last day before the Chunan exams. Teams from all over the world came to compete for the right to become Chunan. However, the major gossip was something else entirely. News of the Yondaim's return spread like wildfire, the population having mixed reactions. Some were very happy, thinking Konoha grew in power once again, some were displeased, because he left his son, while others simply didn't know what to think. Team 7 had also mixed reaction. Kakashi was happy his sensei was alive, though he felt sadness for Naruto. Sakura was neutral, while Sasuke hated it. He thought it was like saying Itachi returned and was pardoned for his crimes. Similar thought coursed through each member of the Genin teams. We could find Naruto walking around, his eyes narrowed as the villagers looked at him, some with pity, some with adoration. Naruto ignored them, as he kept his mind off everything. He kept walking until he stopped. Behind him stood a square rock with holes. He turned and simply did a sealess earth jutsu, causing the ground to move, as a yelp was formed. The rock blew up in a puff of smoke, as the coughing of 3 kids was heard. We used too many smoke bombs, one said coughing. The one in the middle looked up and yelled, Naruto Nisan. He sighed, Konohamaru, square rocks don't exist, or follow you around. He muttered. Konohamaru was the grandson of the Sandaime. He met him once in the Hokage's office, and after the boy realizing he didn't care for his status, the training tips he gave helped too. He became like an icon for the boy, someone to look up in his dream to become Hokage. Naruto didn't care about that, but helped Konohamaru and his friends whenever he could. Speaking of friends, he gave a nod to them, causing them to nod back with smiles. Udon and Mogi, with Konohamaru and enough training, could make a very decent team, he thought. Naruto Nisan, I heard what happened. You all right? All he got was a forceful nod in response. Before anything else could be said, a cry of Naruto was heard. He turned to see Sakura rushing to him. I heard what happened. I am. He simply said, leaving no room for argument. Konohamaru looked at her, then at Naruto. Boss, is she your? He raised his pinky, causing Naruto to raise an eyebrow. Do you take my preferences to match her? Konohamaru yucked. You're right. She can't be. I mean, look at her, she's flat. He said, causing Sakura's eye to twitch, not to mention her huge forehead. He said, then he heard chuckling, run. Naruto said, slightly amused, as Sakura roared and chased Konohamaru, his friends Udon and Mogi following him. Naruto was gonna leave until he heard a crash with a yell of, you brat. Quote. He turned, walking where they went, only to see Konohamaru held by his scarf from a ninja wearing a black suit, making him look like a cat, with an item wrapped in bandages on his back. Behind him stood a Kunoichi wearing a white dress with a battle fan behind her back. They both sported a Sunagaku or Haitai 8. Close to Konohamaru was Sakura, with Udon and Mogi behind her legs, all with worried faces. Please, put him down, she said politely. He simply smirked and reared his fist back. No way. This kid needs to be taught a lesson. However, before his fist connected, Konohamaru disappeared, as a rock hit the Suna nin's arm, causing him to yelp in pain. On the tree, stood Sasuke, his outstretched arm showing he had thrown the rock, and Konohamaru appeared next to Sakura as Naruto appeared in front of them. Boss! The kids yelled with stars in their eyes. The black-haired kid is cute, but the blonde is a total hunk. The Suna girl thought with a blush. The Catman growled as he went for the bandages on his back. You're gonna use Karasu, Kankuro. She yelled. Kankuro simply grinned. Don't worry, Temari. I will just teach them a lesson. Naruto folded his arms. I don't think your friend on the tree likes that, he said as pressure fell on them. They turned with widened eyes on the tree, where a kid stood. Gee Gaara. Temari muttered. Kankuro, you're a disgrace to our village, he said as he used a sand shunshin to get down, while Sasuke wondered how he didn't notice him while he was next to him, as he too jumped down, standing between Naruto and Sakura. But gee Gaara, I was just shut up, or I will feed you to mother, he said in a cold tone, causing Kankuro to stop speaking, fear in his eyes. What are Suna nins doing here? We might be allies, but you can't just waltz in the village. Sakura said. They are here for the Chunan exams, Sakura. Naruto said, observing Gaara. He stood a head taller than Sasuke, with short red hair and green eyes, with tanuki-like black rings under his eyes. He wore a black bodysuit and held a gourd behind his back. He turned to Naruto, sending a wave of killing intent, causing his teammates to sweat, while the children looked scared. Naruto huffed, then sent a massive wave of killing intent, overpowering Gaara as his teammates struggled. The children were scared even more, and the Suna nins except Gaara were forced to a knee. Gaara had his eyes wide. Mother is afraid of you, he said, causing his teammates to widen their eyes. Naruto narrowed his tell Shukaku to behave, or I will rip its spine personally, he said, Gaara widening even more. What is your name, holder of one? Sabaku no Gaara, these are my brothers Kankuro and Temari. Naruto nodded. I am Uzumaki Naruto, future Lord of the Nine, he said, causing Gaara to hold his head in pain for a few seconds. My teammates are Sasuke Uchiha and Haruno Sakura. I will meet you at the exams, Sabaku no Gaara, he said, turning to leave, his teammates following him. Gaara stared at his back for a second, then walked away. Kankuro, Temari. We are leaving, he said, with them following him. Naruto walked around, his teammates following him. He finally stopped and turned to them. What do you want, you two? He said. Sakura was about to say something but stopped when Sasuke walked forward, looking at him, then muttered something. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Excuse me. Sasuke grumbled. I am sorry for the way I treated you. I didn't realize you had it worse than me. And now this, he looked at Naruto seriously. I am sorry for what you go through and for my own behavior, he said, raising his arm. Naruto looked at it for what seemed an eternity, then shaked it. Don't be. We're teammates. We should trust each other, not fight each other, he said, with Sasuke nodding, then turned to Sakura. She looked down and said, Listen Naruto, I know I have been treating you badly, thinking you were an obstacle to winning Sasuke-kun, but I realize you only wanted to help us. Thanks to you, I have grown less afraid of the life of ninja. I am still weak, but I hopefully won't be a burden anymore, she said, bowing. Naruto looked at her and nodded. Despite your horrible timing, you two, he said, causing them to blush in embarrassment. I will accept your apologies. Now, would you two like to come to my house? We need to talk about the Chunan exams, he said, causing them to look at each other then nod. He nodded back, as they went at his house. Castle Takezo. Remind me why you call a castle a house, Naruto? Sasuke asked as Sakura looked in wonder at the living room, having only seen the circular hall leading to the stairs to the different rooms and floors of the castle. Naruto placed 3 glasses filled with Kora, along with some sweets on the table, as he sat on his armchair of white leather, because I believe every man's home is his castle. Why can't the same be said for a castle being your home? He shrugged. The living room could easily fit a large amount of people. Its walls were colored a light yellow and it had a chandelier above them. It had an armchair with 2 couches of 2 people on its sides, a couch for 5 people opposite of that, and 2 couches fitting 10 people, all together having a layer of white leather and forming a rectangle. Inside the rectangle of couches stood a large coffee table made of marble. He had turned the couches slightly, so it looked more like a pointed tip his side of the room. Sasuke and Sakura, both sitting on the same couch, took the drink, taking a sip. Wow, it is actually good. Sakura said, getting a nod from Sasuke. Of course it is. Naruto bragged. Anyways, I called you here to talk about the Chunan exams, he said, as they turned serious and looked at him. The Chunan exams are composed of 3 parts. I don't know what the first part is, it changes every year. The second part is a survival exam, located in a large dangerous area. The third part will be an elimination round. However, that occurs weeks after the first 2, so that lords may come, he said, causing them to nod. First, let's think up on our formation. After so much training, I think we each know each other's capabilities. Now, here is what I propose. Since I am an all-around fighter, I can take any role. Sakura, you will be our support. You are to watch our backs, cover us with genjutsu and heal us. Sasuke, you are the heavy hitter. You will be the one to attack the enemies head-on, using your Nin-Tai combo and Sharingan to crush them. That leaves me to be the tank. I will be the one to block damage and return it with equal force. Any objections? He said, causing them to shake their heads, as it was a solid formation. Now, we also need a team leader. He will be in charge of making strategies, as well as holding the responsibility of bringing the team to the elimination round. Any suggestions? He said, turning to them. Sakura went to say Sasuke-kun, but Sasuke interrupted her. Sakura, I know what you will say, but I think Naruto should lead. He turned to him, you are the better strategist and the superior fighter. You should lead. Causing Sakura to pout but nonetheless nod. While I don't like it, I have to agree. You have an aura that screams respect, Naruto. You're the best choice, causing Naruto to smile. Well, at least you didn't say those apologies to ease my mood, he said, grabbing a sweet rising. Come on, he said, I have something for you too. Between bites as they followed him. Sasuke and Sakura gasped as they saw Naruto's armory. They had only seen so many weapons in a weapon shop. Naruto turned to them. All right, first of all, these 2 are for you, he said, motioning towards 2 armor stands. Sasuke approached them first. The armor was state-of-the-art, made of dark steel, yet looked and felt very light. It was composed of a chest plate, forearm protectors, shoulder pads, knee pads and greaves. He turned to Sakura. Her armor was the same, only it was more feminine looking and was made of white iron. Thank you, Naruto, both said, too surprised to say anything else. He merely gave them a nod. We're not done yet. Can you use any weapons besides the traditional kunai and shuriken? He asked, causing them to nod. I can use a straight katana. Sasuke said, I can use small fans, she said, causing them to turn to her. What? They are a lady's weapon, she huffed, causing them to sweet drop. Naruto simply grabbed 2 fans and gave them to her. She looked at them. The handle was made of chakra wood, signifying its durability. The fans were made of chakra cloth, painted white, with sakura petals on it. She looked at a small switch, but when she pressed it, she yelped as blades came from the fans. Be careful. Press it once and they come out. Twice and they go back. If you press the switch on the opposite side in either state, the blades are launched. Don't worry, there's an extra set of blades inside the fan, he said, getting a smile and a thank you. He then went and took a jian from the wall. It had a blue handle, with a red gem on it. Its pommel was round and made of iron, looking like it can be used as a blunt weapon. The blade was sharp and made of chakra iron and was stored inside a blue sheath. He gave it to Sasuke, getting a thanks. He then went to the drawers and grabbed some scrolls. He tossed them to Sasuke and Sakura. Those scrolls are supplies. The weapons scroll contains 10 kunai, 30 shuriken, 5 senbon, 100 explosive notes and 20 feet of ninja wire. Sort them out as you wish. The other scrolls keep them sealed. The names suggest their purpose, he said, causing them to nod. He explained more about the weapons and tactics they could use. Time passed and they eventually left. Naruto was now at his room, preparing for tomorrow. He was drinking sake, with a cigar on his side, trying to choke down all the emotions. I must not show emotions, He kept chanting. After a while, he put out the cigar, as he closed the lights and fell to bed. He looked at the moon, frowning on yesterday's events. Something tells me these exams will be both awesome and crappy at the same time, he thought, closing his eyes, as sleep took him. Konoha. It was morning in Konoha. The birds were chirping, the sun was glowing, and genins were seen entering the building where the first part of the Chunan exams was held. Tension could be felt, as everyone wanted to become a Chunan, an officer of their respective village. Sasuke could be seen leaning on a bench, his eyes closed, waiting for his teammates. He had changed his attire slightly, wearing black shorts instead of white, along with a dark blue shirt. His high-tie cloth was also dark blue. He wore the armor Naruto gave him and had the Jian strapped behind his waist in a horizontal manner. Moments passed, as a cry of Sasuke-kun was heard. Sasuke turned, only to find Sakura rushing towards him with a smile on her face. She wore the same outfit, except her pink dress was now red. She also wore Naruto's armor and the fans were on her hips. Sasuke looked at Sakura up and down, causing her to blush, until Sasuke nodded in approval, albeit hesitantly. "You look good," he said, then turned back to his leaning position with closed eyes, oblivious to Sakura's look of joy. "He noticed me," she said as the inner Sakura did the victory sign. She then sat next to him, as they waited for Naruto. Not a minute passed, before a puff of smoke was formed and from inside came Naruto. 15 minutes earlier, Naruto could be seen sitting on his room, in front of the armor stand in a meditation stance, his fists touching each other, as he controlled his breathing and thinking, to control the flow of his chakra. A light blue aura formed slightly, until it dispersed. He sat up, looking at the armor stand, the weapons prepared and the clothing. He first wore his clothes, he then started putting each armor piece one by one, tying the forearms, clasping the shoulder pads and putting on his high-tie 8. He then clasped the ninja pouches and took the Raijin before he looked at the mirror. He was dressed to survive. He looked at his reflection, but instead of seeing blonde hair and blue eyes, he only saw black gold hair with weird golden eyes. The figure seemed to form a smirk, but his eyes spoke volumes to Naruto. Those eyes that demanded respect and screamed power, had seen as much pain and sadness and loneliness as his own eyes. With a shake of the head, he turned from the mirror towards his office table. He gulped down the last kora in his glass, then took a cigar and lit it. He took a puff, then disappeared in a puff of smoke. Present. Naruto appeared from the smoke, only to see the looks of surprise from his teammates. Naruto wore a woodland camo bodysuit, with a new mask, colored green, hiding everything below the eyes again. He wore pitch black armor, that was placed in such a way that it looked glued to the bodysuit. The suit was form-fitting, showing his trained body, getting a slight blush from Sakura. The Raijin was seen hanging from his right hip. On his left hip, however, was another handle, this one made of chakra wood. He had one arm on his belt, the other on his mouth holding the cigar. "What?" he asked with a raised eyebrow. They both shook their heads. "Nothing. Shall we go?" Sasuke asked. Naruto nodded, throwing off the cigar. As they made their way inside, Sakura turned to Naruto. Naruto, I never asked, but how do you smoke and drink from the mask?" she said, Sasuke looking intrigued as well. He simply placed his hands on his pockets. "It is made of a special cloth with lots of tiny openings. This way, fluids and air can pass," he said, causing her to nod. "But food?" He turned to her. "Why you think when I am not eating ramen I am turning my food into mush?" Sakura sighed. "That explains a lot. In every mission that required them to eat food they didn't bring, Naruto turned his food into mush." They kept walking until they came into a peculiar scene. A large amount of genin were trying to pass into the room, only to be stopped by 2 genins. Naruto simply kept walking, followed by his teammates, even Sakura noticing the genjutsu that changed the room number and the meaning behind it. They kept walking until they found the room. Outside stood Kakashi. "So you decided to come, good. Remember what you learned and you will do fine." He turned to Sakura. "First, Sakura, I have to say that you have finally become a Kunoichi. I am very proud," he said, causing Sakura to beam in happiness. He then turned to Sasuke. "I am also happy for you, Sasuke. You look better than when you came in this team. I hope you keep being like this," he said, getting a smirk from Sasuke. He then turned to the final member, Naruto. "I am happy. I believe you're the reason for their improvement and I thank you for that." I also would like to ask you, I will protect them, he cut in, thinking of what Kakashi wanted to say. He got a sigh but a nod. Good luck, Team 7. He said, giving him a thumbs up as he disappeared. Naruto turned to his teammates. Ready? He asked, causing them to nod and take places beside him. Naruto nodded. Let's get this show on the road, he said. As soon as he opened the door, a wave of killing intent was blasted upon them. Naruto raised an eyebrow, but threw in his more potent ki, causing most of the genin to freeze, while the strongest one looking in interest at him. He simply went and leaned on a wall, closing his eyes. He frowned, however, failing to relax, as the annoying voice of Kiba was heard. Oh, look at this. You are here. The Rookie 9 has assembled, man, he said. Naruto felt that the entire Rookie 9 feet had just entered the door. Shikamaru merely groaned a troublesome. Choji was eating chips, Shino and Hinata were, themselves, and Ino was coming towards him. The blonde came at him, a smile and small blush on her face. Hello, Naruto-kun, she said, a seductive tone in her voice. All the group turned at her, with Kiba scowling and Hinata mixing jealousy, anger and sadness perfectly. Naruto remained with his eyes closed. Hello, Ino, he said. She frowned in mock hurt as he didn't look at her. Don't be mean, Naruto-kun. It's not polite to not look when talking. He simply chuckled. What do you want, Ino? He asked, taking a sip from a magically spawned can of Kora, causing her to smile. Can't I be with my future husband? She said innocently, causing Naruto to almost choke, Kiba to growl, Hinata to faint, Choji to drop his chips and the rest to gawk. He coughed some more, then with a sigh, put his Kora back, as he opened one eye to look at her. Last I checked, it was never official, he said, causing her to frown. What do you get from saying no? He closed his eye. If you want to be my husband, you must do 3 things. First, get to know me. Second, get stronger. And third, stop dieting, it will harm your figure, he said, causing her to nod, although pout at the last one. He then looked at Hinata's sad face and sighed. If only you had a stronger personality, Hinata. You would no doubt make a powerful Kunoichi. But even if you did, your pure heart doesn't deserve a man like me, he thought, closing his eyes again. He then heard a voice. Damn, you rookies sure know how to cause a ruckus. He ignored the man, though noticed the smell of snakes. The Genins turned to a boy older than him, with silver hair, wearing eyeglasses and a purple jumpsuit. This is your first time and you make everyone tense. Calm down, he said with a smile. Sakura turned to the fellow Genin. Who are you? She asked politely, causing him to grin. Yakushi Kabuto. A fellow Genin. This is my 7th time taking this exam, causing them to widen their eyes and Kiba to laugh. So you suck. Kabuto shrugged, or the exams are just very hard. Anyways, I got information for you, he said, holding out some cards. Being in these exams so many times, I got information on anyone, he said. Give me information on Uchiha Sasuke, a voice said. Sakura turned with a smile. Haku, she said, getting a nod and a smile from the girl. She was added in Team 11, with Yakumo and Sai, so they can enter, but Naruto knew already. They lived in a house in his territory after all. Kabuto frowned. Not fun. You know the names, he said, pushing chakra. Haku Momoki, adopted daughter of Zabuza Momoki, demon of the mist. She is good at ninjutsu and healing. Partners are Yakumo, Kurama and Sai. She has done 15 D rank missions and 3 C rank missions, he said. Sasuke stepped up. Give me information on Sabaku no Gaara, he said. Kabuto took another card. Sabaku no Gaara, son of the Yondaime Kazekage. He is very good at ninjutsu. His teammates are his siblings, Sabaku no Kankuro and Sabaku no Temari. He has done 5D ranks, 10 C ranks, 3 B ranks and an A rank. It is said he has never been injured in any mission, he said, causing the Genins to gulp, while our hero simply huffed with his eyes closed, enjoying his relaxation. However, it soon ended. Give me information on Namikaze Naruto, a female voice said. Naruto opened an eye to see who it was, but soon opened both in surprise and anger. There stood 2 girls in his age, only a head shorter. The first had blonde hair in pigtails, with violet eyes. She had a figure most girls her age and even adults would be envious of, with C-cup breasts and a firm rear. She had perfect curves and not an ounce of fat. She wore a red turtleneck shirt, with black skin-tight pants. She also wore red sandals and had a pair of Teko Kagi made of chakra metal on her hips and a wakizashi on her back. She was Naruko Uzumaki Namikaze, Naruto's sister. Next to her stood a girl only slightly shorter, with flowing red hair and piercing blue eyes. She had the same figure as her sister. She wore a navy blue shirt, revealing a little cleavage, with black biker shorts like Sakura's. She had a kodaki and a tachi strapped on her waist. She was Uzumaki Narumi, Naruto's second sister. Hello Naruto Onisama. It brings us great joy to meet you, they said, bowing slightly. All of Team 7, along with Haku, gulped slightly. Naruto's eye was twitching madly, as his hands were curled into fists. What are you two doing here? He spat out. Naruko took a step forward, smiling, oblivious to her brother's fury. Sama and Ka-sama brought us here to participate in the Chunan exams. And to get to meet you, Oni-sama, she said with a grin. Narumi nodded with a smile. We heard so much about you. We wish we were here to the village and live with you, she said, with Naruto getting painful flashbacks. Naruko stepped up and went to hug him. Don't be shy, Oni-sama, she said playfully. However, she soon stopped, as Naruto quickly grabbed her by the throat and raised her in the air, his killing intent rolling of in waves. He looked at her fearful eyes with his own gold ones. You dare? After all I've been through, you and my parents just dare come and think everything is good? That I would welcome you with open arms. You dare? He growled, causing her to whimper in fear. He then looked at his other sister, who was struggling to stand tall from the intensity of his ki. And you come to me and say with your happy-go attitude you heard so much about me, that you wanted to live with me. You wouldn't last a day, much less 12 years. He growled, until he felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned looking at Sasuke, who looked at him, struggling to stay conscious. Stop, Naruto. Half the room will die, he yelled, causing Naruto to stop. With a final growl, he dropped Naruto and released the pressure, with the room gasping for air. He looked around, noticing many genins on the floor. He turned to see most of the rookies unconscious, including the girls. With a sigh, he said, go wake Sakura and Hinata, to Sasuke, as he went to Ino. He crouched down and lightly patted her shoulder. She woke up with a gasp, looking into Naruto's blue eyes. It's over, he told her with bitterness in his mouth as he rose her to her feet. She looked at him. You all right, Naruto-kun? She said, her voice trembling from the after effects. He nodded as he looked at his sisters with narrowed eyes. Don't get in my way. You may be my sisters, but I won't show mercy, he said, then went back to the wall to calm his nerves, the eyes of every person in the room following him. At that moment, a puff of smoke appeared in the room. Chunan Lounge. In the Chunan Lounge, the leaders of the genin teams participating were sitting in couches, chatting, both from Konoha and from other villages. The main talk in the air were two things. First, the return of Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato, and second, Uzumaki Naruto. The news spread like wildfire to every nation in less than a day. To say the least, most Kage and a lot of Chunan were ashamed on those two for abandoning their child, much less a prodigy. They heard of Naruto's power. After all, the boy only 12 and was already an A-rank ninja. Speaking of his parents, Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kushina were in the corner of the room, next to the Sandaime Hokage, who was sitting on his chair, and Hitaki Kakashi. Kushina turned to Sarutobi. Do you think he thinks of us, Sandaime-sama? He asked. Sarutobi turned to her with a frown. The question you should be asking is if he thinks positively of you. And the answer is no, he said, causing her to sadden. Minato looked sad too. What do you think he will do regarding our daughters? Sarutobi looked at him. As long as those two don't mention his past, he will simply ignore them. You did tell them about his life, right? He asked, causing him to sweat. Minato, Sarutobi warned, then a very familiar pressure fell. After a minute it disappeared. Sarutobi sighed. I think the fact that you escaped death made you an idiot, he said. Minato turned to him with sadness in his eyes, as Sarutobi looked at Kushina. And you, I expected more from the last Kyuubi Jinchuriki Kushina. You know how it feels to be a Jinchuriki, yet you thought that Naruto won't live the life of one. You're as much, if not more responsible, he said angrily. Both looked down. They were thinking of ways to make up for it. Sadly, they would make very poor choices. Exam room. Ibiki Morino came out of the smoke, along with the Chunan examiners. All right, maggots. Sit down and shut up, he yelled, with the genins quickly sitting down. Naruto was in the middle of front row, Sasuke was upper right corner and Sakura was in the middle left. He sensed where everyone he knew was, sensing with a scowl on his face that Narumi was 5 seats to his right and Naruto 4 seats behind him. The first part is a written test. You got 9 questions in front of you and 1. That will be given later. Each question is worth 10 points. If you don't answer a question, or answer wrongly, you lose a point. The goal is for your team to have a total of at least 20 points, he said, causing many eyes to widen. If you don't get the points, your team fails. If one is caught cheating 5 times, he and his team fails. He continued, getting more wide-eyed looks. You have 1 hour. Begin, he yelled, the genins instantly picking up the pencils. Naruto looked at the questions with a raised eyebrow. These are too hard for any genin, not to mention most Chunan. Well, Sakura would know them thanks to her book smarts, and I know these from Anbu training. So, the purpose must be to cheat, he thought, shrugging as he answered every question. Once he finished, he folded his arms and closed his eyes. Ibiki looked at him. What is Okami doing? He thought. He of course knew Naruto's true rank, as he trained the boy in interrogation and got quite a lot of prisoners from him. He knew the questions weren't hard for him, but he wondered what he would do. He mentally shrugged, thinking he was calming down from his outburst. He felt the key and knew his family was involved. Speaking of Naruto, he was using his unique sensory skills to find what the rest were doing. Sasuke was using his Sharingan, Ino her Shintention no Jutsu, Tenten used mirrors, Hinata and Neji her Byakugan, Kiba used a Kamaru and so sensed an eye of sand in the air, knowing it was Gaara's. He also sensed that Naruto used a seal to spy on people and Narumi had her eyes closed and wrote down the answers. He mentally narrowed his eyes, keeping his eye on her. Even if she isn't a Jinchuriki, she is an Uzumaki, meaning she has lots of chakra. She is a Namikaze as well, meaning she is fast and of course has Fuinjutsu skills. That ability though, I wonder. Whatever it is, I must be careful, he thought. When the hour passed, Ibiki had kicked around 15 teams, 5 from Konoha. All right. Put the pencils down. I will give the final question now. However, I must ask if you want to take the question. What kind of thought is that? Said Kiba. Ibiki continued, if you decide not to take it, you and your team will be disqualified and can try another time, he said, with Naruto yelling, then of course we will take it. Ibiki then smirked, but if you take it and answer wrong, you will be disqualified and forbidden from taking part in the Chunan exams ever again, he said, causing an uproar. What? But many people have failed these exams and got to try again. A random Kumo genin roared. Ibiki shrugged, they didn't have me as proctor. My exam, my rules. If you want not to take the question, raise your arm. Steadily, people started raising their arms and their team left. After a while, the pressure in the room had risen. Sakura choked, going to raise her arm, however Naruto spoke, Sakura, if you raise that arm, you will lose more than a chance at promotion. He growled, his nerves not the best. She gulped, nodding, putting it down. Naruto then turned to Ibiki, the answer is the meaning of a leader. Are we done now? He said, causing Ibiki to look at him, then to the rest, all of you, pass. He said with a smirk, causing another uproar, shut up. He yelled, the point of the final question was how to act as a leader. A Chunan is an officer. Sometimes, he will face a difficult decision. It is important to know what to do, he explained. Then what was the point of the other questions? Temari said. Information gathering. The questions were hard to force you to cheat, without being caught. A ninja must be able to gather and keep information. He said, you passed the first part. Now, wait for the proctor for. As soon as he said that, a puff of smoke appeared, with a banner rising. The banner read, the sexy and single, Mitarashi Anko. Single quote dot. From the smoke, a very peculiar woman came. She had short purple hair and brown eyes. She possessed a killer figure, amplified by her clothes. She wore a fishnet shirt, with an orange mini skirt and a yellow trench coat above that. Hey Ibik, wow, have you lost your touch? So many teams are left, she said, causing him to snort, we might just have some good ninjas this year. Speaking of good ninjas, look at the front row in the middle, he said, causing Naruto to twitch his eye. She turned, gaining stars in her eyes, Wolfie. She yelled, rushing to him, causing him to twitch more. She went to smother him with her melons, but he shunshined next to Abiki. Gee, thanks, he said. Abiki shrugged, your fault. As soon as Anko got over it, she coughed. All right, everyone meet me at the Forest of Death in 10 minutes. If you're late, you're disqualified, she said, she and Naruto disappearing as the genins rushed out. Abiki sighed, looking at the papers until he came to Naruto's. He narrowed his eyes at a note in the bottom, then went to inform the Hokage. Forest of Death. All right, maggots, she said to the gathered genins, this is training ground 44, or the Forest of Death, she said, with Kiba snorting, it doesn't look scary, he said, only for her to smirk, tell that to the man eating plants and the mutated predators. She smirked, causing many to gulp. She took out a white and a black scroll. This is a heaven scroll, this is an earth one. Each team will get one scroll. The objective is to go to the tower in the middle with one earth and one heaven scroll. You have 5 days, she said. What about food? Joji asked. There's plenty of edible plants and animals on the forest, she said, noticing Naruto didn't pay attention. With a smile, she threw a kunai at him, only for him to catch it and throw it back with double the speed. She dodged it with a smirk, then heard a voice behind her, your kunai miss. A Kasagaku Kanoiki said, causing her to smile dangerously, you better not get behind me again, she said, causing her to nod, I am sorry. I just got excited, she said, with Anko nodding. Each team go to their respective gates. You have 5 minutes to prepare, she said. Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura stood in front of the gate. We have a heaven scroll, Naruto said, putting it in a seal on his arm. You know what to do, right? We got all we need. We travel in triangle formation. Sakura, you're on back. Sasuke, you're middle. I will be front. First day, we will get as much distance as possible and try to encounter a team. If we don't, we set up traps to slow down others and potentially get an opportunity for a scroll. Keep your eyes peeled, he said, the others nodding. Sakura however added, how about we form a password? She said, the others nodding, all right. We shall ask the question, who took down Tora? The answer will be the respective code, he said, causing them to nod. Wait, what happens if we get split? Sasuke asked, with Naruto turning to him, if we get split, I will come to you. No worries, he said, with Sasuke nodding. Naruto outstretched his arm, ready. Both teammates placed their arms above his own, raising them to the air, yes, they said. They turned, as the bell rang with the opening of the gate and they rushed inside. Part 2 of the Chunan exams had just begun. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.